Our adventure begins in the eyes of a man being broken out of a very unusual prison cell. Our rescuer, another man dressed completely in black tactical gear, doesn't stick around to explain, and upon leaving the room we're met with writing on the wall that gives a little info about our player character's identity. He's been kept inside of a chamber designated 106 and is apparently extremely dangerous to the point where he is to be restrained at all times with a mask covering his head. Dried bloodstains and the lack of a bed or any other accommodations tell us that the prisoner hasn't been treated very humanely, and the large television screen with the bizarre videos playing on it may indicate some kind of brainwashing or experimentation is being performed on him. If we press the I key to open up our database menu, only one intel log is available, a short poem titled Serenity containing the lyrics to the song that was played in the background of the peculiar video the prisoner was being forced to watch. As we follow our unspeaking savior, he carves a path through the guards with terrifying efficiency, and it isn't long until the chief of security learns of the situation. After he announces that Subject 106 has breached containment, heavily armed guards flood the facility in search of us, but luckily our protagonist has the ability to turn his entire body along with whatever he's holding invisible, allowing him to sneak past any danger with ease. Crawling through a ventilation shaft, 106 reaches a small office space where he picks up a folder containing details about a basic psychological evaluation that was conducted on him. The reading states that he possesses superhuman strength, derives pleasure from inflicting pain on his captors, and is incapable of any sort of speech or correspondence. It seems our protagonist is being experimented on and assessed for his strange abilities, but who are these people who imprisoned him? They aren't wearing police uniforms or anything, and there are apparently other inmates here, so why aren't they being broken out as well? And who or what exactly is Subject 106? His only friend in this place seems to be his equally strange and powerful rescuer, so 106 follows him using the glow sticks he's left behind until he arrives at a security station that has the keys to unlock his handcuffs. Checking around the room, we see devices and clothing with the logo for a company called Horizon on them, and a calendar tells us the year is 2035. Arming himself with a pistol, 106 shows that he has some experience with firearms, and he keeps moving until he comes across a small group of Horizon guards. It's here we learn that while in combat, not only is he alarmingly dexterous and athletic, capable of picking up a fully grown man and throwing him dozens of feet into the air after pulling the pin on a grenade he's carrying, 106's reflexes are so finely tuned that he's capable of entering a state where the world itself appears to slow down around him. These abilities make him far more dangerous and proficient than the ordinary security guards, and he slaughters entire squads of them until he reaches something a bit more unorthodox. Within a walk-in freezer surrounded by the bodies of Horizon mercenaries, the savior is kneeling dead on the floor, seemingly by his own hand, or sword I should say. After checking the body, a large token falls out of the man's hand, and 106 flips it over to see a Roman numeral on the back, 105. With a gracious pat on the shoulder, 106 takes his brother's token with him and starts to remember a little more about himself. He must be some kind of a super soldier, and he's not the only one, but why did his predecessor decide to kick the bucket now? He seemed like he was handling himself just fine. Fighting through increasingly resilient squads of guards, 106 takes an elevator to the upper floors where he encounters an office complex above the prison facility. Examining a computer that's been left unlocked, 106 reads an email sent from the same doctor who carried out his psychological evaluation, addressed to the CEO of the Horizon Corporation itself. The email talks about something called the WBE project, project and how it's unfeasible due to the impossible task it's trying to accomplish by digitally simulating the billions of neurons and synapses of an entire human brain. The doctor writing the email suggests to the CEO that instead of digitally emulating a human brain, they simply simulate a brain with another brain, using the same techniques they use for something called memory transplants. The Intel document tells us two things: that this company Horizon has created technology that allows for manipulation of people's memories, and that they are trying to use this technology presumably to access a certain somebody's brain. Now, you probably have a pretty good idea of who that somebody is, but a couple rooms over we find another equally revealing document. Lying on a desk in another office is a phone with an email addressed to the prison security administrator Paul McClellan, and it's a warning that if the prison, named Site 14, were to ever become compromised, Paul has 30 minutes to extract any non-security personnel before the place is swept clean by an elite Horizon Black Ops division called Talon. We heard at the beginning, as soon as 106 was broken out, Operation Bright Star was initiated, so that explains why there's nobody here except the security guards. After fighting through some more of them, 106 finds a meeting room with another folder on the table containing a file detailing a report about attempted transplants using his own memories. I guess that answers the question of whose brain they're trying to emulate. Apparently, Horizon doesn't know much about 106 either. So on top of having a protocol that kills every single civilian employee in this facility, this document shows that Horizon is willing to use human test subjects to accomplish their ends, since 106 didn't budge and reveal anything about himself when they were torturing him. As for what the transplant attempt actually revealed, one of the two guys they experimented on went nuts after spouting some gibberish about a unicycle, and the other one just straight up died. A little further into the office complex, 106 finds another folder containing a briefing for arriving scientists at the facility, giving them some information on what they're going to be doing at Site 14. The briefing makes it sound like 106 is some kind of undiscovered animal that they found roaming around outside, and Horizon is just looking to figure out what makes him tick. Well, 106 isn't an animal, he's a very dangerous person, and he makes that abundantly clear for the next group of guards that gets in his way. Shortly after he leaves the office complex, when 106 is going through a tight hallway, the lights get cut. It's Talon, the Black Ops division sent by the CEO to carry out Operation Bright Star, and even though they've got more advanced tactics than the other guards, 106 kills them all the same, although he's probably starting to think it's time to get out of here. However, blocking his path is an incongruous floating drone that, upon interacting with, opens up a text interface with a very slowed down rendition of Serenity playing in the background. The drone accesses his memories and uploads a data package referencing Subject 105's termination to an unknown receiver. When it's done with that, it displays a message seemingly addressed to 106 himself, talking about a cycle starting over and how if he's captured, he'll be forced to complete his original mission. Once the interface closes, the drone has vanished, but the door it was blocking is open now. With questions flooding his mind, 106 enters the loading bay where the final battle of Site 14 begins. Destroying wave after wave of security guards and Talon operators, 106 finally earns his freedom by getting revenge on Paul McClellan himself, the security administrator of Site 14, who shows up with a bunch of friends and a particularly durable southern man wearing a bomb suit. When the fight is over, 106 hears a radio transmission telling him to come outside, where he's met not with more Horizon mercenaries, but with a new faction of soldiers sporting blue uniforms inviting him into their helicopter. Without asking any questions whatsoever, 106 happily obliges the men and takes a seat solely based off the fact that they aren't shooting him, so they must be nice. When the pilot, who calls himself Raven, takes off for what could be an active volcano for all we know, 106 watches the men enter the compound and closes the door of the helicopter, officially ending the tale of Site 14, although the story of Trepang2 is only just beginning. Fortunately, the pilot does not drop 106 into a lava pit or anything, instead taking him to a large bunker and introducing his boss. A woman calling herself the director talks to 106, saying that she's a big fan of his and that he was at Site 14 for a long time, so she understands why he hates Horizon so much. She welcomes him into their top secret clubhouse and finally introduces her group as an outfit simply called Task Force 27. They certainly aren't a task force for the US government or a rival corporation at odds odds with Horizon, or God forbid, some kind of underground resistance movement. Ugh. For all we know, these guys are straight up terrorists. 106 reasons that the enemy of his enemy must be his friend, so he throws on the free spiffy uniform that they've given him and familiarizes himself with his new brothers in arms. And you know, I gotta say, for a bunch of guys who kill people as their job, everybody here is pretty nice. You know, there's none of that who's the new guy bullshit. They all just say what's up and that they're glad to have him on the team. Ignoring the fact that everyone is standing behind bulletproof glass and nobody wants to shake his hand, 106 makes his way over to the briefing room where the director says an assignment is waiting for him. He is to attack a location called the Pandora Institute, a Horizon-run retirement home. The director says that they had a mole named Dr. Emerson in the institute to keep an eye on things, but recently he's gone radio silent. 106 is going to be accompanied by numerous squads of Task Force 27 soldiers during a nighttime raid to try and rescue Emerson and see if Horizon is doing anything else that's more in line with their activities at Site 14. Hopping into the helicopter, Raven, who is now 106's personal pilot, makes a strange comment about how 106 reminds him of the last guy he used to be pilot for, and with that foreboding observation, they take off for Pandora.
Oh shit!
Not 5 seconds after Raven and 106 arrive at the Pandora Institute, the helicopter gets locked onto by a Horizon Rapid Deploy anti-aircraft missile launcher. Mercenaries rush out of the compound and fire at the chopper, and Raven only has so many flares, so instead of letting 106 rappel in from a secure location, he just shoves him out onto a random rooftop and the director tells him to get to work. Yeah, Horizon's definitely up to something here though. What kind of old folks home has a fucking AA gun? Jeez, imagine bingo night. In the corner of the room that 106 drops into, there's a folder containing a welcome letter to a newly arrived patient, although strangely it seems to be addressed not to a senior citizen but a young adult. Maybe they were suffering from an inoperable cancer or something. That's a shame. Another intel document a couple rooms over confirms this, as 106 finds an article showcasing featured patients at the institute, a young man and a woman both diagnosed with terminal illnesses who are being allowed to live out their fantasies at the Pandora Institute before they pass. Guess the Pandora Institute accepts expiring people of any age. Regardless, this place is crawling with security guards, and after fighting through some lounge areas, 106 arrives at the AA gun and disables it, allowing Raven to drop off some breach charges for the locked doors. As 106 heads into an ornate dining area called the Gold Palm, he hears the facility's unfittingly cheerful automatic announcement system say it hopes the patients enjoy their stay and that they will be remembered, which would probably spoil the mood for someone trying to have a nice dinner and forget about the fact that they don't have long to live. Inside the bar, 106 takes out a Horizon employee named Killian Reynolds, who's been designated a high-value target by Task Force 27 because of his role in covering up workplace deaths at the Pandora Institute. Now, why would there be fatalities at a place like this? On a table nearby, we see a very troublesome patient consent form that forks over the signer's rights to let Horizon have basically complete access to their body. Oh lord, what are they doing to these people? Outside the bar, another Task Force 27 pilot named Falcon drops off his squad, who move off to secure another part of the institute. Moving past the security station, 106 goes through an open ventilation shaft and gets the drop on another group of guards who reluctantly obey their commander telling them to hold their position, which they do because they say people are counting on them. After taking care of those guys, 106 finds a laptop on a nearby desk with an email sent to admissions staff at the institute telling them to be more aggressive with their recruitment of new patients, because the more they have, the better it is for science. Maybe that explains all the posters in this place advertising miraculous achievements in medicine like limb restoration surgery, cures for blindness, and even other things like AI-generated concerts, all available for you if you come to the Pandora Institute. But why do they want more people here? The Vox system and the welcome letter said the patient stays are free of charge. Moving closer to the tower where Emerson is supposedly located, 106 is helped by another airdrop task force squad who help him secure the area. On a couch within one of the upper floors of the lounge area, 106 finds a phone referencing one of the people in the featured patients showcase he looked at in the other building. The phone displays a social media post tagging Mike the Skater, a 27-year-old terminally ill patient here at the Pandora Institute. The poster is wondering where Mike has been since he signed up for quote-unquote that research thing last week. In an adjacent room, there's a laptop displaying an email from Juniper General Hospital granting expecting a request from the Pandora Institute for more patients. Alright, I think I'm starting to see a very disturbing pattern here, and after 106 walks into a small memorial room full of names of people who have died at the Pandora Institute, my suspicions are confirmed. This isn't an old folks home. Some of the people who have died here were as young as 14. Horizon is using fancy living, pools, concerts, free drinks, and who knows how many other commodities to attract young people to this place, but for what? Come to think of it, that intel log about the brain transplant attempt back at Site 14 said the subjects were requisitioned from the Pandora Institute too, so is this just a place where Horizon can keep their test subjects before they use them at their black sites? A phone left on a couch in a small theater within the museum has a message addressed to Horizon corporate saying that people are dying so fast they're running out of space to put their names on the walls. What are they doing to the patients here? I'm supposed to believe all of these people had terminal illnesses? Oh hey, I know that guy. Nevertheless, 106 doesn't really seem too fazed by anything as usual and keeps moving to the Oasis Tower to rescue Dr. Emerson. Approaching a courtyard where a large group of heavily armed Horizon mercs is waiting for him, 106 wipes them out and moves into the unfinished Cultural Enrichment Center where he disables the laser gate preventing him access to the tower. When he comes back outside, the Pandora Institute security administrator Nicolau Silva is waiting for him with another group of Horizon mercenaries. Even though they put up a fierce fight, 106 kills them all single-handedly and gets another supply drop along with some reinforcements. After being told that another squad has already made their way into the tower, 106 heads inside and hears a voice over the intercom belonging to the one and only Anton Lazar, the CEO of the Horizon Corporation itself. It's a recording of a short speech thanking some volunteers and talking about how their sacrifice will change the world, and it conveniently leaves out the bit where he also thanks them for the new gold-encrusted swimming pools he's going to buy with the money he'll be making off of this place. Next to the tower's entrance, a particularly vocal high-value target named Samaritan is standing guard, spouting something about how 106 is there to watch people die and telling him to bring it on. His bio actually makes him seem like a pretty decent person, so I have to wonder what he's doing in a place like this. What a nut. He must have lost his mind at some point. He's not fighting to save lives, he's fighting for some bigwigs and their wallets. Moving into the auditorium, the whole room is full of bodies. This must be why there weren't any civilians on the outside. Everyone is already dead, but what happened? Not even Task Force 27 could have done this. I mean, they just got here. Over on a table with bins full of cell phones on top of it, one of the phones has been left on, and 106 reads an email written by a patient telling his dad that he wants to come home and he's uncomfortable with the staff pushing him around and always trying to force him into medical studies. The director radios 106 and tells him that she's found Emerson's signal, but it's coming from a lower floor. Moving through a small art exhibit with some very unnerving anatomical paintings on display, the Institute's Vox system announces that patients are not to leave their rooms and a lockdown is in effect. Boy, that's gotta be the worst one yet. Finding an elevator, 106 meets another task force operator who bypasses the lockdown for him, warning him about Horizon security down there and wishing him luck before going back to his team. After stepping in and going down, 106 listens to the relaxing music playing over the sound system and takes a moment to appreciate a brief respite from the chaos. Okay, I'm not quite sure what that was, but and here we go. 106 steps out of the elevator and the new Vox system welcomes him to Horizon Black Site 97. Now we're getting somewhere. This underground hospital area is the real Pandora Institute, and I think it's safe to say that things have gone tits up. Whatever made that noise on the elevator is probably behind this, but the reason why Horizon wanted so many patients for this place is still unclear. In a small office space belonging seemingly to the PR team, computers that have been left on show copy-paste emails that are unceremoniously sent out to deceased's loved ones en masse and highlight the vile indifference that the staff here feel towards their quote-unquote patients. In a nearby executive lounge, 106 reads an email on a laptop from a high-ranking Horizon employee named Dr. Kramer, assuaging a conflicted scientist and assuring him that their goal here is to improve lives. Yeah. In an adjacent room, another computer has been left on with a document detailing a shocking experiment where a patient was exposed to some kind of virulent compound that mutated him into a horrendous bloated monster. Even though the patient's DNA was rapidly rewritten and they were in extreme pain, they still retained their mental capacities, although they were drastically impaired, and the patient finally died only when the gas buildup in his body caused him to violently explode. Mother of mercy, the Pandora Institute isn't an end-of-life care facility, it's an end-of-life exploitation facility. But why is Horizon running these tests? What reason could they possibly have for wanting to run tests on a compound this dangerous, and where does that thing that was on top of the elevator come into play? Keeping in mind his mission to find Dr. Emerson, 106 moves through the offices and reads writing on the wall left by security personnel detailing the collapsing situation. There's nurses lying dead all throughout the place, and radios are playing transmissions of screams that don't sound anything like ones you'd hear in an ordinary gunfight. The Vox system keeps requesting doctors to take their breaks, saying they've exceeded overtime hours and urging them to report to patients' rooms or pick up phone lines, even sometimes referencing Dr. Emerson himself, but nobody seems to be here. A lot of these bodies are in varying states of repair too, like some were killed by gunshots while others were torn to pieces. In the requisition center up the stairwell, 106 finds a whiteboard with the first actual mention of Dr. Emerson by someone other than the director. It looks like the Horizon staff here have figured out who he really is and are scrambling to find him and kill him. 106 picks up the pace, dropping down from a ventilation shaft to disable the laser gate blocking his progress. But after he does that, a security guard on a sweep comes through the doorway and fires a few rounds at him. What a prick, dude. I swear, dude, the people who work here are... Ah, there she is. That must be the thing that landed on top of the elevator, but what the hell is it doing in a place like this? I mean, what analytics program could Horizon have run that would make them decide it would be a good idea to merge their hospice care facility with their homicidal cryptid lab? Whatever that thing is, I sure hope there isn't anything else like it in this place. Well then, that spells out where the researchers got their compound for the experiment. That monster produces an extremely toxic substance that transforms people into mutated feral beasts, but we're still yet to learn how it got here. After putting that guy out of his misery, 106 hears a familiar sound around the corner. It's another drone, just like the one he saw at Site 14. Interacting with it, the drone again uploads 106's memories of what he's experienced here, and then it displays another message, this time ominously saying that 106's purpose here was never to rescue Dr. Emerson. Downloading a file, the drone displays to 106 an email from Horizon CEO Anton Lazar to Dr. Kramer, the high-ranking employee from the Conflicted Scientist email, accusing Dr. Emerson of quote-unquote containment breaches within the facility's laboratories. Pressing forward, 106 finds a computer in an office close by to the drone detailing an experiment log about a substance called Pandorium. The substance, when administered in... This bird won't shut the hell. It's like 9 o'clock. The substance, when administered in watered-down doses, is described as having profound health benefits, but eventually induces delirium in the test subject after prolonged exposure. I think I know where this is headed, and just across the room on another computer there's a report about Pandorium that talks about its extraordinary abilities of healing wounds, neutralizing hazardous chemicals, and converting other organic matter into a powerful energy source. The report says Pandorium is derived from biological resources, which of course is referring to that monster wreaking havoc on this place, and we're starting to see more and more of the full picture. Another laptop in the room displays a Horizon Black Ops mission log, which chronicles an operation by Talon mercenaries who successfully infiltrated a hideout belonging to an organization simply called the Syndicate. The Talon operators killed all the enemy personnel and extracted with a shipping container holding unnamed contents that they sent to the Pandora Institute for further study. Outside there's another laptop laptop showing an email sent to all staff at the Institute from Anton Lazar himself, urging them to prioritize caution when working with anomalous substances. For what it's worth, it reads as genuine, but clearly his warnings fell on deaf ears. After moving through some more eerily quiet waiting rooms and hallways, 106 finds the most terrifying sight he'll ever see in his entire life. 8.5 bones for a hot dog, $4.50 for a coffee, and $12 whole dollars for a burger. Oh, makes my skin crawl. There's also a lot of those revolting zombie things in here, but those take second fiddle to these prices. My goodness. Alright, but seriously, these installations in the Pandora Cafe aren't man-made. This must have been the work of that creature. The bile it emits appears to have some kind of terraforming effect, and it looks like it's made this place its nesting ground or something. Every surface is covered in this grotesque, pulsating biological material with what appears to be orange whatever emerging from within it. After fighting a sizable horde of the monsters, more zombies open the door to the cafeteria, and one of them is of particular note. His name is, or was, Dr. Tobias Lambeth, and he was a high-ranking physician at Horizon known for performing unproven medical practices. He's unique, however, because unlike the other zombies, Dr. Lambeth has apparently retained not only what sounds like a limited ability to speak, but also the ability to handle firearms. Yikes. Moving past the cafe, 106 finds a whiteboard with writing on it from one of the Horizon guards here, lamenting his circumstances and how Emerson is nowhere to be found. Another whiteboard lists objectives for the security staff with an unsettling mention of a failure to restore a reactor system. Notice how it says they evacuated the scientists but only contained the patients. Outside, 106 finds some doors apparently leading to the reactor room and places charges. Oh shit! 106 survives a close encounter with the monster and lands in a busted elevator shaft, crawling out from it into the lower floors of the Pandora Institute, which have been completely converted by the creature's biomaterial. His Geiger counter is ticking like crazy, and the director tells him to haul ass. Strangely, she also mentions she's picking up Emerson's signal in this area, and after a mad dash to the exit, 106 makes it out into another lounge area. The distorted Vox system eerily pages Dr. Emerson over and over again to no response. It's not too long before we learn the reason why. Emerson is already dead, lying in a pool of what was probably himself, his hazmat suit apparently preventing him from fully mutating like the other victims. The director says there's nothing 106 can do now and tells him to download the mission data on Emerson's laptop. Upon doing so, 106 gets a database entry detailing a manifest for Horizon Flight 799. The plane was loaded. It had hundreds of pounds of medical supplies and research equipment and 4,000 kilograms of quote-unquote biological materials. And guess who else was on it too? 3 Horizon mercenaries and Dr. Kramer, once again returning from the conflicted scientist email and the email between him and Anton that the drone displayed. Looks like he's headed to England for something, and he's bringing quite a bit of supplies from the Pandora Institute with him. Looking down at his fallen comrade, 106 notices something on the ground next to him and bends over to pick up another golden token, just like the one Subject 105 had back at Site 14, but this one has the Roman numeral for 95 on it. Emerson was a Subject too, just like 106 and 105. 106 takes his brother's token with him and grabs the USB drive from the laptop, but not before checking underneath the table and finding another intel document. This folder contains another mission log, but not one carried out by Horizon. Instead, it's an archive entry from 1967, 68 years before the events of the game, and it describes an operation carried out by an unnamed organization attempting to destroy the creature that has now made itself home here at the Pandora Institute. The document chronicles a battle with the creature on the Silver Bridge, and when the operatives realized their firearms were ineffective against it, their director ordered them to use explosives instead, which eventually did do the trick. So now we have the full story. Regardless of whether or not there are more than one of these things, or the one they thought they killed in 1967 survived, after all its exoskeleton can withstand gunfire and it does possess accelerated healing properties, Horizon got its hands on this monster that was being kept in a shipping container and transferred it to Site-97 to run experiments to see if they could exploit its anomalous nature. Utilizing the Pandora Institute's lavish living accommodations as a method for attracting test subjects, Horizon would use their unwilling patients as fodder to research the creature and its unique attributes. Judging by the earliest dates in the memorial room, the Institute was in operation for at least 3 years, and by the time 106 and Emerson show up, Horizon is breaking ground and have engineered their miracle substance Pandorium that they're preparing to commercialize. Speaking of Emerson, what exactly was his role here? Well, we can't say for certain how long he's been undercover, but outside the room where he died, 106 checks the bar that the good doctor got his final drink from and finds a note that he left behind. It seems that in his desperation to end the madness of this place, Emerson decided to release the only thing he knew could destroy it from the inside. His note reads like he's severely regretful about his situation, but it sounds like Horizon had already figured out who he was before then, and what other options did he have to stop the misery this place was inflicting on people. And on top of that, he must have been acting on his own too, since all this time Task Force 27 have been trying to rescue him. If they had known he was going to die, they wouldn't be scrambling to try and infiltrate this place to find him in the middle of the night. So this is a very interesting development for 2 reasons. Number 1, this game understands how to do morally complex characters way more than people give it credit for, and 2, it shows that subjects aren't just complete robots. 106 and 105 may be mute killing machines, but Emerson is capable of speaking and writing, so he has a conscience and a personality. Poor guy had probably seen enough shit to last a lifetime, but at least he was able to end it on his own terms with a buzz and some classical tunes playing. Damn. I wonder if Horizon is still going to give him the life insurance. After he stocks up in the armory, the director tells 106 to head down to the bottom floor so they can finish what Dr. Emerson started. She tells 106 to head for the experimental bioreactors that use the material harvested from the creature to power the facility. Overloading them should result in a blast big enough to level the whole place, but the entire area is covered in the creature's bile and it could be heard stomping around and screaming just out of view. Eventually, 106 makes it to the reactor area where the director tells him to just throw those guys into the generators. That ought to do it. Her theory is correct, and when all the reactors are overloaded, 106 starts to make his getaway. This time, when 106 encounters Subject 97, there's nothing in between the two, but the creature is impervious to his gunfire. All 106 can do is run for the elevator, but the creature catches up to him again, and this time it's really looking to finish him off. While 106 waits for the elevator, he has to play Ring Around the Rosie with the thing until an explosion knocks him into the open elevator shaft and actually knocks him unconscious for a second.
106, can you hear me? Come in!
Come in. He doesn't talk, lady. Why are you asking him?
Not even 1 week since your escape, and you've already destroyed one of my facilities. Allow me to make one thing clear, 6. You were never supposed to be a weapon.
Yeah, while 106 is riding the elevator back up to the surface, Anton Lazar of all people radios saying some cryptic line about not being a weapon. Maybe the two of them had a history before 106 got his memories erased at Site 14. When 106 comes to, the elevator has reached the surface where a friendly squad of Task Force 27 operators is getting ready to extract. They tell 106 that Raven's on his way, but as he approaches the helipad, the monster shows up again, looking like when I used to have to ask my mom for a ride to school whenever we missed the bus. In its weakened state, 106 finally has a real chance at taking out Subject 97, whose health bar labels it the Mothman, even though it's actually a female, as lead developer Wilson has been uncomfortably eager to point out. Canadians, bunch of weirdos. Taking hit after hit to its exposed internal organs, the Mothman displays terrifying resilience, brutally killing the Task Force 27 soldiers with UFC Unleashed moves, but after a long battle, it too ultimately falls to 106's arsenal. The director expresses her disgust with the Pandora Institute and tells 106 that she and him are going to right Horizon's wrongs no matter how long it takes. And with that, the long night of the Pandora Institute finally comes to an end. Returning to the safe house, the director updates 106's clearance level and says there's something she wants to show him. Probably hoping it's a decent benefits package, 106 enters the safe house and proceeds to the now open double doors to the left of the entrance, but not before noticing the changes in the central area. It seems the task force operators have brought back some spoils with them from the Pandora Institute for further study and archiving. Incidentally, the Rangemaster has also just made a new gas-based grenade that releases an airborne variant of the Mothman toxin available for 106 to use now. I'm pretty sure that's a war crime, but maybe the Geneva Convention got revoked sometime before 2035 in the Trepang universe. Anyway, going back over to the newly unlocked area, as 106 goes deeper in, he hears the safehouse Vox system tell the excavation team to return to their stations, and an elevator takes him down to a very unusual site. Hidden within the safehouse's deepest levels is an enormous thermonuclear warhead that the director entrusts to 106 in the event that the base is overrun by hostile forces. 106 presses the button and the world explodes. After letting him know that he's been hanging around in a building with a giant bomb in it, she tells him to get some shut-eye and that the next mission is waiting for him whenever he's ready. And when he goes back up to the ground floor, guess what's waiting for him there? It's another drone, and upon interacting with it, it uploads a redacted data package of 106's memories and simply says that the director isn't telling him everything. Once again, 106 asks no questions and dutifully makes his way over to the briefing room to get back to work. Now, you remember that flight manifest that Emerson found showing Dr. Kramer traveling to England for something? The director wants 106 to give chase and says he and the other squads of Task Force 27 operators are going to be attacking a secluded castle in the mountains of Yorkshire where Dr. Kramer is believed to be collaborating with a nameless fanatical cult. On the way out to the helipad, the quartermaster warns 106 that he's in for some freaky stuff, and 106 hops into the chopper with Spectre Squad to go kill some cultists. The level opens with 106 being inconsiderately dropped through a skylight into an isolated wing of the castle's upper floors. There's no anti-air gun this time, and walking out of the small library area, he finds a newspaper on a coffee table with an article about a large mobilization in the Pacific region of Horizon's armed forces. That's a pretty cool bit of world building, giving us a glimpse into the world outside 106's eyes, and also showing that the world of Trepang is a frightening one where privately owned companies are able to amass entire armies. Linking up with a friendly squad, 106 hears a loudspeaker playing a speech being given by the cult's mysterious leader, only referred to as the Patriarch. It's some weird rambling about an age-old organization hiding in the shadows, but strangely he doesn't seem to be talking about his cult and is instead referencing a different group he never explicitly names, only calling it an unyielding cabal. 106 and his buddies use a nice bit of high ground to snipe some cultists putting around down below, and when 106 drops down from the overlook, more cultists storm the courtyard to defend their sanctuary. And these guys are bona fide cultists, dude. I'm not talking about some lame-ass Heaven's Gate spaceship cult or like a stupid weird sex cult thing. These guys are so real, they don't even wear body armor. They just gun it straight for 106, and some of them even light themselves on fire to try and kill him. Those guys, the ones wearing red robes, even have a pledge that can be read over by a fountain filled with blood talking about how they're happy to give their lives for the cause. And plus, they never shut up about the Patriarch. They really love the guy, and every time they open their mouths, they praise his name and go forth into battle for his glory. I like them already, and when 106 makes mincemeat of them, he drops a flare for his task force pals and opens a door to gain access to another wing of the castle. And I gotta say, for a cult of insane terrorists, they keep the place pretty damn clean. The architecture is beautifully ornate, and every hallway is adorned with enchanting artwork and other gorgeous furnishings. I wonder how much it would go for on Zillow. Anyway, lying on the table in front of the giant painting is a short message addressed to 106 from no other than the Patriarch himself. It's a vague warning about becoming what you destroy, but it seems more like an underhanded threat than a warning. Entering an expansive library, 106 meets the Enforcer, a fiercely devoted cultist serving as the Patriarch's right-hand man. But before 106 can get to him, he finds a scroll with some writing on it left by a cultist named Thomas. Thomas, a former employee at Horizon, has joined the Patriarch's cult in search of purpose in his life, and he's brought his pregnant wife along with him. Right, cause that's what you do when you're searching for inner peace. You join a death cult in the mountains with your spouse. Jeez, dude, just get a gym membership. Anyway, we'll hear more from Thomas later. Right now, 106 has to clear out these libraries, and as he's doing so, he finds another scroll with an entry written on it by a cultist librarian, giving a brief history of the cult. The scroll reveals that the Patriarch didn't actually create the cult outright, but instead overthrew its previous leaders and has been ruling over it for a good while now. There's also another mention of the nefarious cabal, but at this point, for all we know, that could just be the Homeowners Association. Across the room, 106 finds another librarian entry imparting history about the castle itself. It's gone through numerous owners, from the Vikings to the Romans to some noblemen, although all the previous inhabitants before the cult have disappeared within the castle's confines. Above the library, on a precarious walkway leading to a private study area, 106 finds yet another drone with a message far more revealing than any of the other ones. As we know, these drones upload data packages containing 106's memories and experiences concerning whatever location he finds the drones in. The Site-14 drone uploaded a package about Site-14, and the Pandora Institute drone uploaded a package about the Pandora Institute. For whatever reason, the Safe House drone uploaded a redacted data package, but this drone here in Jorvik Castle uploads a data package titled Mission to Terminate Subject 91. Now, why is 106 here at this particular castle? He's been sent here to terminate the Patriarch, and this drone is telling us that the Patriarch is a subject just like him. This is yet more evidence that subjects are humans and are entirely capable of forming their own beliefs and values. It just seems that the Patriarch, for whatever reason, decided his values coincided with being the leader of a terroristic cult. The drone also displays another message. It's a partially decrypted transmission log sent from a Task Force 27 member warning against sending 106 in to kill the Patriarch, saying there's a high chance of something happening, but the drone wasn't able to decrypt what that something is. Well, regardless of the fact that the Patriarch is a subject, he's gotta go. I mean, the cult he leads stages mass kidnappings and other attacks, and now he's working with Horizon, and we've seen what those guys get up to. In the next room, a larger and more open study area, 106 finds a scroll with the Enforcer's PT routine written on it. It doesn't seem too bad for maybe a beginner who doesn't have access to free weights, but I mean, if these guys want to see some real gains, they're gonna have to add some more exercises. In addition to his workout routine, 106 also finds the Enforcer's Doomsday Plan, which seeks to take advantage of the castle's isolation and thick walls to protect his and the Patriarch's followers from nuclear bombs. Also in this room is a scroll with the second Patriarch speech written on it, different from the one 106 heard earlier over the loudspeaker. This time the speech is acknowledging the happening Task Force 27 invasion, and the Patriarch is hyping up his followers to defend their holy ground, saying the destruction of the Cabal is imminent. Across the hall there's another journal entry from Thomas the Cultist, who is doing okay 5 days into his stay here at the castle, but is confused with the lack of women and children in this place. His wife isn't having much fun, but he says the two of them are there to stay. After getting jump scared by some martyrs, 106 finds himself in the castle infirmary, where he reads a journal entry written by a cultist doctor expressing satisfaction with the payload that Dr. Kramer has brought for them. He writes that he will only grant the gift of eternal life to the most pure of heart, and that he will not waste his power on the unworthy. Well, if this isn't just some more schizobabble, I think this may explain the cultists' messed up faces. Yeah, if you shoot their masks off, you're met with some ugly mugs underneath those hoods. I think this is implying they might be zombies or something, but regardless, they're definitely not fully human anymore. Hey look, it's Jesus. Across the hall, 106 finds a scroll written by another doctor talking about the cult's newfound ability to imbue life. Using prayer, alchemy, and faith, the cult will create a new supreme being to serve as a testament to the Patriarch's boundless will. Now this is my kind of cult right here. Seeing another task force squad dispatch some cultists outside, 106 makes his way to a large auditorium space where he finds yet another journal entry from our friend Thomas. His wife has died during labor, but Thomas is so blinded by his devotion to the Patriarch that he doesn't even seem to care and is going to raise his child as a member of the cult. And by the way, the Patriarch did not bang this dude's wife, guys. The reason Thomas says the Patriarch has blessed him with a child is just because his already pregnant wife gave birth, and he just attributes that to his holy leader's influence. Outside the auditorium, 106 finds the fourth and final journal entry from Thomas. This time there's no mention whatsoever of his wife or his son. He simply says he's abandoning his journal and beginning his legacy as a raging inferno that will forever burn in the name of the Patriarch. And that's the story of Thomas the Cultist. He could have been any one of the martyrs that 106 has already killed, or maybe something else happened to him on a raid, or maybe he just left, who knows. Not only is the Chronicle of Thomas a cool bit of immersive storytelling, it also serves to point out that the cult doesn't appear to have any fancy recruitment tactics where people have to be born into it or anything. They accept anyone from trained soldiers to burger flippers so long as they're willing to fight for the Patriarch. And speaking of fighting for the Patriarch, in the next room 106 comes face to face with the most dedicated of his followers, the Enforcer himself. Wearing modified juggy armor and wielding a minigun, the very pissed off Enforcer is a formidable opponent for 106 and even shows himself to be capable of some kind of teleportation. I guess the cult really does afford its members supernatural abilities, and as the fight goes on, the Enforcer makes reference to the Cabal, implying that 106 and Task Force 27 are a part of it. After a tough battle, 106 ends the Enforcer's schizoid ramblings, and just as he does so, a friendly Task Force squad in another part of the castle finds Dr. Kramer and starts preparing to extract with him. Right as this happens, Horizon helicopters descend on the castle and the Task Force squad with Dr. Kramer, and now it's really gonna hit the fan. Making his way back through the libraries, 106 sees Horizon soldiers all over the place, and they're even killing their former allies the cultists while they look for Dr. Kramer. Over the radio, Anton Lazar makes another appearance, wisely telling his men to avoid Subject 106 if they can, and the Patriarch also radios to tell his followers to kill the traitorous Horizon mercenaries. The whole place is torn up now, with cultist bodies sprawled about every surface and Horizon operators around every corner, and as 106 is making his way back to the courtyard, he hears the Task Force squad that captured Dr. Kramer announce that Horizon is on their tail and they're gonna have to hold out underground. Not long after, the director tells 106 that his vitals are spiking before her connection drops and a different voice comes over his radio. It's the Patriarch telling 106 that he's not the first person that's been sent to take him out and that he doesn't want to have to kill his brother. Yeah, he's another subject alright, but that still doesn't make everything fall into place quite yet. Eventually, 106 arrives back at the courtyard where Horizon has overrun his buddies who are desperately trying to hold them off. After reclaiming the area, the director tells 106 to go to the other side of the castle now and head after the squad who captured Dr. Kramer, who are now unresponsive to any radio transmissions. As he's heading over to their last known location, 106 comes across another Horizon researcher who was sent to the castle at the same time as Dr. Kramer, grouping up with a squad of Horizon operators. His name is Dr. Walter Ramsey, and he tells his rescuers that while the cult's methods are crude, he believes that his and Dr. Kramer's research on them will set the company on the right path. Also in this room is another cultist librarian scroll with writing on it telling of mysterious ancient tablets that barbarians from ages ago were almost able to quote-unquote ascend with before they were killed by invading Romans. Another librarian entry in this room is one discussing the cult's collaboration with Horizon and how Anton Lazar reminds them of their own Patriarch back when he was in his prime. Soon after, 106 finds a folder belonging to Dr. Kramer containing a document detailing his first few days with the cult. Like Dr. Ramsey, Kramer believes the cultists to be insane and unorthodox, but he still believes that collaborating with them will yield results. This document also reveals that Dr. Kramer has a heart rate monitor that sends a distress signal to Horizon if his heart rate gets too high, which explains the swift arrival of the company's mercenaries earlier and also implies a degree of distrust has always existed between the two factions. Making his way through an underground cellar, 106 comes across multiple bodies belonging not only to the Task Force 27 squad that captured Dr. Kramer, but also to enemy Horizon operators. Looks like the cult's still in this fight, and as 106 enters a large training area where the bodies of Task Force and Horizon operators alike are crudely strung about the place, he finds another folder belonging to Dr. Kramer. The document includes a photo of Kramer taking notes on a cultist ritual, and he writes that he's beginning to think that maybe there is no real rhyme or reason to their madness. Nearby, there's a scroll written by the Enforcer showing the purpose of the arena 106 finds himself in is to train the cultists in tactical situations, which explains their efficiency in raiding secluded towns and villages all over England. In addition to all these poor saps, 106 finds Dr. Kramer's remains as well, and the director makes a very insensitive remark about how this is a bigger loss to Horizon than the Task Force. Lady, there's like 10 of your former employees hanging from the ceiling in here. 106 would be right to report you to the HR department for what you just said. After realizing that the leader of the squad is unaccounted for, the director tells 106 to see if he can try and find him in all this mess. 106 finds the squad leader's helmet but not his body, and the director uploads the heavily corrupted feed from the helmet's camera, which only plays garbled sounds of screaming and chaos. chaos. Just then, the Patriarch teleports into the observation chamber above the arena and tells 106 he tried to warn him. Now there's wave after wave of cultists showing up to try and kill 106, but after they're all defeated, they give up and tell the Patriarch that 106 is just too strong. The Patriarch, being much more understanding than the Enforcer ever was, tells them to save their strength and that their sacrifice was enough. The Director tells 106 she's picking up a signal. It's the leader of the task force squad whose body was unaccounted for amongst the carnage, but he's wounded and he's just making strange gurgling noises over the radio. He should be just behind the door. Yeah, Dr. Kramer was wrong. The cult most certainly does have dark magic powers, and they used them to turn 106's task force friend and apparently a whole bunch of other people into a disgusting hulking golem. When 106 finally kills it, the Director says that the reason the Horizon scientists were here must have been because they wanted to build another super soldier. Are you sure? Because it looks more like they wanted to make a giant demon hell monster to me. Well, at least the cult did. Regardless, the Doctor is out, and the last name on 106's list is the Patriarch himself. Once again making his way back to the courtyard, 106 goes to—
So it's true. You really are just like me. The question is, are you any better?
In another demonstration of his occult powers, the Patriarch apprehends 106, and now we can get a proper look at him. You probably noticed by now that the Patriarch doesn't actually have a face underneath his helmet. Instead, it seems that he's some kind of robot filled with a fiery essence, meaning he's abandoned his original human body a long time ago. As 106 follows his assailant, he hears the screams of task force members outside being mercilessly slaughtered by the Patriarch. It seems that these guys were trying to make their way over to 106 to see if they could give him a hand, and they've brought along with them a syringe containing a unique substance that allows 106 to dual wield weapons. I mean, he didn't know that before he injected himself with it, but the ends justify the means, I guess. After going back through the gate, 106 sees the Patriarch escaping on the monument in the center of the courtyard, which apparently doubles as a secret elevator. Before he can get to it though, 106 has to contend with some more cultists, but this time he's got some assistance from the task force squad he helped earlier. After the monument elevator is sent back up with some more cultists on it, 106 gets an opportunity to take it back down to the Patriarch, and as he does so, the task force squad he was with provides cover for him, and he can only watch as their friendly little blue dots slowly fade away as they sacrifice themselves, dying to the approaching cultists. Alone in the deepest libraries of the castle, 106 sees flames rising from the lower levels due to the Patriarch instructing his followers to burn their sacred knowledge to prevent its corruption by the invaders. As he makes his way to his target, 106 hears over the loudspeaker the third and final speech of the Patriarch, expressing his regret that he and his cult will not survive the day, but showing gratitude to them regardless, and saying that their sacrifice will not be in vain. A scroll nearby contains the Patriarch's final will, saying that the Cabal has destroyed their holy temple, and if anything is to survive of his cult, it must be the message to break the cycle. Hey, wait a minute, we've heard that word before. The drone way back at Site 14 made mention of a cycle too, although I don't really know what the connection is, and I'm pretty damn sure he's not the one behind the drone, so the only way to find out is to keep going. Interestingly, there's still some Horizon mercenaries down here, and 106 even finds a high-value target named Sokol, a Black Ops mercenary with a pretty unique backstory. Sokol is a war criminal that Horizon hired because of his terrifying efficiency in the field, but every time they deploy him, he needs a team of wranglers to keep him in check. If you take a good look at him, you'll notice he's carrying all kinds of random stuff that he swiped from the castle. After taking care of him, 106 keeps moving to the Patriarch, who can be heard again over the loudspeaker asking why 106 is killing all his children. Say what you will about the guy, but I don't hear the fucking Director expressing the same remorse for her fallen subordinates. Undeterred, 106 eventually arrives at the Patriarch's auditorium where the final battle begins. The Patriarch expresses his regret with the situation, saying strangely that 106 is only the second brother he must kill, even though earlier he said he killed multiple of his predecessors. As the fight goes on, the Patriarch says all kinds of peculiar things, such as how the last brother he fought was twice the warrior 106 is. He's supported by dozens of his followers and even summons another golem when the going gets tough for him. When 106 finally defeats him, the Patriarch imparts one last schizophrenic wish: break the cycle, and the level ends with his soul leaving his robotic body, officially ending the battle at Jorvik Castle. When 106 returns to the safe house, its central area has changed again, and the evidence from the Pandora Institute has been replaced with the bodies of cultists, their masks, and their weaponry for additional studies. The director is very pleased with 106's performance and says she's delighted at how the two of them were able to take out two birds with one stone, destroying the cult's headquarters while simultaneously setting Horizon's research back by a considerable amount. She tells him that when he's ready, there's another mission waiting for him in the briefing room. He and a small team of task force operators are going to be sent to Russia, specifically the freezing region of Siberia, to investigate an old Soviet military base that Horizon has repurposed into a top-secret underground research facility. Civilians in a nearby town were evacuated earlier in the day due to a quote-unquote gas leak in the area, and the director wants 106 and his pals to investigate. On the way out to the helipad, the director tells 106 to be prepared for anything, and the quartermaster ominously says that he doesn't have a lot of intel for this mission, but he wishes 106 luck. And with those reassuring words, 106 takes a seat in Raven's chopper next to his new squad mates and they take off for the tundra. The mission opens with 106 and his squad making their way through a small ravine to an old rickety elevator that's going to take them underground to the facility. It seems that Horizon wasn't actually lying about the chemical leak thing, and 106 has even decided to don a gas mask before he gets on the lift with two of his task force buddies. A spooky mishap while riding down the elevator indicates this level will have a much slower tempo than the previous levels, with a heavier focus on creep factor rather than action. As the elevator plunges deeper into the depths, communication with the surface becomes impossible due to a lack of reception, so there won't be any director in 106's ear to tell him what to do. That's alright though, because Tweedledee and Tweedledum are here to keep him company, but as soon as the trio get to the bottom floor, the facility's Vox system announces their presence to the security staff. When 106 resets a breaker box, he notices a computer that's been left on right next to him. It's displaying a gas mask protocol that's been issued to all personnel, saying they are to shelter in place immediately, and if they experience any auditory or visual hallucinations, they are to report themselves to security. Preparing for combat, the three stooges enter the loading bay and are met with, well, nothing actually. There's nobody here at all. No workers, no guards, just rats and forklifts. Over on a wooden crate, 106 finds a phone with a logistics report on it detailing strange occurrences where items are disappearing and end up being found in odd places, or they reappear with copies of themselves. Ignoring the Vox system's unnerving announcements, 106 finds an article in a locker room reporting on a strange phenomenon happening in the Siberia region, where enormous craters are appearing sporadically throughout the landscape that investigators are unable to discern the cause of. After being jump scared by the plumbing, 106 finds an open laptop with a history record on it, giving us a little more information about the facility. It's called Site 83, and as we know, it's a former Soviet military base, but what's news to us is that it was abandoned and sealed up by the government in 1906. In the year of our Lord 2035, Anton Lazar has reopened the base and is conducting experiments in it for an unknown reason. As they keep moving, the trio run into another automated door that needs power rerouted to it, and while Phantom 1-3 and 1-4 shoot the shit with each other, 106 goes off to look for another power box. As he's searching, the Vox system makes a bizarre announcement warning about something moving 300 miles an hour in the laundry room. Maybe someone's washing their stupid high-beaming white Dodge Challenger. It must be going haywire due to a lack of sufficient power, and soon 106 finds another open laptop displaying a note written by a scientist. The note mentions more things are going missing after a power surge in the area, but this time an entire human being has gone missing as well. After resetting the breaker box, another power surge occurs and an air conditioning fan literally flies off its handles, allowing 106 to crawl around the now electrified gate he came through using the ventilation shafts. After another fan plops out onto the floor in front of 106, he crawls out the other side back into the... Oh god damn it, Horizon, what did you do now? That was a fucking satanic nightmare ghost, and as expected, 106 follows it outside only to find his squad mates Phantom 1-3 and 1-4 have disappeared without a trace. Pressing forward, 106 finds a computer in a nearby room with another scientist log on it talking about a crystal called Subject 83 that, when electrified, blew out all the power in the entire facility. Pleased with the crystal's ability to f shit up, the researchers decided they want to shock it again under more controlled circumstances classes in the name of science and money, ignoring even more unsettling Vox announcements and moving past some overturned shelves covered in blood. 106 finds a folder with a file imparting some history about the facility and the crystal mentioned in the previous scientist log. The crystal was discovered by the Soviets decades ago while they were expanding the underground military base, and it wasn't long before they started experiencing the same strange phenomena that the Horizon researchers are writing about in their logs. The Soviets figured that the fumes emanating from the crystal were some kind of deliriant gas, so they installed a filtration system and created a gas mask protocol to ensure worker safety while they studied the crystal. Unfortunately for them, their precautions weren't enough, and in 1986 an unknown catastrophic event with the crystal caused an evacuation that resulted in most of the personnel being sealed inside the underground base, never to be seen again. Okay, 106 keeps moving, and soon he Hey, is that Tweedledee? And so it begins. Welcome to Site 83. Alright, so now 106 is out of gas mask thanks to the welcome wagon bringing us down here to the bathroom, so I guess now he's just gonna have to hold his breath. Luckily for him, a laptop in a nearby living quarters displays another history log that disproves the theory that the gas is what causes the disappearances and hallucinations. So yeah, that's reassuring. He's not just tripping balls. That was an actual ghost that killed his friends and sent him to the toilets. The ghost is still waiting for him outside as well, and since it's incorporeal and extremely sensitive to sound, 106 has to carefully sneak around it to survive. While doing so, he finds a scientist log discussing yet another new anomalous characteristic of the crystal. It apparently has a tendency to absorb objects that are in close proximity to it, and when the researchers let the crystal absorb a camera to see where it would go, it continued to transmit after absorption, but from an unknown area thousands of miles away. Damn, they must have rigged that sucker up with 6G Wi-Fi. The researchers have decided they're going to try and coordinate with security to stage an expedition into the crystal to see if they can find the missing guard. Once 106 sneaks away from the ghost, he finds a small infirmary area with a computer displaying a document detailing a special test conducted by the Horizon researchers. They shocked the crystal with a strong electrical current, and nothing really went wrong this time, but for whatever reason the missing guard's helmet camera suddenly started transmitting its feed again. The camera feed showed it was in a strange room that nobody recognized as a part of the facility, but they were able to see that a bunch of other missing items were also in the room along with the helmet. They tried to pinpoint its exact location, but the camera's coordinates were way out of range, putting it somewhere off the coast of Africa. Also in this room is a newspaper giving a little more insight into the outside world. It's a report about a development in the Aurora Islands region where the Horizon Corporation put an end to a 5-year conflict using AI surveillance programs to disrupt the supply routes of their enemies. So this is more evidence that the world in the Trepang universe is ruled no longer by national militaries but instead by companies. Around the corner, 106 hears a familiar noise and heads into a chemical storage area to find yet another drone. This one is very strange. It seems almost like the drone's transmission was hijacked to display a different message, but the message is very vague and not really much help in explaining what's going on in this place. Interestingly, before the interface closes, the drone displays a notification saying something's disconnected, which none of the previous drones have ever done. When he leaves the area, 106 finally encounters 2 security guards discussing 106's activities restoring power to the loading bay, but at the end of their conversation they make a strange comment about something trying to separate their team. Everybody in this place is losing their minds, and for good reason, since judging by the amount of dead bodies around here, shit has once again hit the fan. A computer nearby confirms this, showing a medical officer's note detailing an increase in injuries due to employees blacking out or hallucinating while operating heavy machinery. Taking refuge in this room is a Horizon high-value target named Tachenko, a mercenary known for taking bribes to cover up safety or health violations, who radios for something named Blue Sky to come and help him when 106 shows up to party. After he takes out Tachenko and his little gang, 106 steps into a small office area that's packed full of intel. Firstly, there's another newspaper reporting on budget cuts within the US military, causing them to outsource most of their assets and operations to the Horizon Corporation in order to reduce costs. Another glimpse into this alternate future where national security concerns are handled not by nations but corporations representing nations. On a nearby computer, 106 finds a report written by the Site 83 security administrator detailing the beginning of the expedition to find the missing guard. 20 members of the Site 83 security staff, split up into 3 squads, are sent into the crystal, but they don't make any real progress on the first day, mapping out 30 kilometers of the area without finding any trace of the guard. A second expedition report on another computer in the room paints an even bleaker picture where one squad suddenly went radio silent, causing the other 2 squads to request request extraction, but the researchers and coordinators didn't know where the hell they were, so they just tell the squads to keep searching. In the hallway outside, 106 moves past dozens of bodies and he gets teleported by the crystal. Searching the area, 106 finds a small alcove with a cot and a cracked glow stick, indicating someone's made a temporary shelter here. There's some writing on the wall too. Most of it is just indiscernible rambling, but some other parts of it are very revealing. Someone named Miller apparently found this little hideout and decided to write a message on the wall asking who is staying here and if they're still alive. A man named Walter responded asking who Miller is and saying he'll leave out some water for him. Unfortunately, it seems that the little conversation never really went anywhere after this, but what's important is the date written on Miller's message. It reads February 2nd, 2031, 4 whole years before the events of the game take place. Oh boy, this is getting juicy. And in the next room, things start to look a little bit more familiar. That's right, the crystal's pocket dimension is none other than the back rooms itself, but don't worry, there's no dumb entities like the butthole stealer or anything like that. This is a much more classic interpretation. As 106 makes his way through the back rooms, he hears whispering and stomping all around him and encounters all kinds of bizarre room layouts. There are bodies everywhere too, belonging not only to the missing Horizon Expedition members, but also to Task Force 27 members as well. These guys can't be Phantom 1-3 and 1-4 though, because there's more than 2 Task Force bodies here, so I guess these are other members of the squad 106 was sent here with. Well, that doesn't bode well, as 106 steps into a long hallway with an ominous green glow at the end of it. Oh shit! Oh, thank the Lord. After being teleported back into the relative safety of Site-83, 106 keeps moving and finds his way into another living quarters area where he hears the Vox system make an announcement that it detects anomalous activity as soon as he walks in the door. Finding a laptop with another expedition report on it, 106 reads about how the squads are hearing voices and seeing shadows, but the scientists think they're just hallucinating. At this point, Horizon Corporate is looking to get involved and have begun assembling a team of specialists to take care of things, and I think we all know what that means. Noticing the fence in front of the exit is electrified, 106 finds a breaker box to reroute power away from it, and upon doing so, the Vox system makes a rather peculiar announcement.
Find me.
I guess maybe the Vox system isn't going haywire at all. There's something controlling it and it wants to meet 106 face to face. Is it the crystal? Is it one of those ghosts? Is it something else entirely? Only one way to find out. Ignoring the sounds of inhuman laughter all around him, 106 goes through the previously electrified gate and finds a large stairwell with an elevator shaft in the center of it, and at the very bottom of the shaft, 106 hears his squad leader calling out for him. Seeing that there's no power to the elevator because of all his messing with the breaker boxes, 106 heads up the stairwell to look for yet another breaker box. But as he turns the corner at the top floor, he notices something very strange at the end of the hallway. It looks like the shadow of a person with a large hole in its head, and when 106 approaches it, it vanishes. After stepping into the room it was in, 106 finds the breaker box that he's looking for and promptly reroutes power back to the elevator so he can get back to his squad leader that's still calling out for him. But after coming back out to the stairwell, 106 sees the elevator come crashing down from the upper floors and more mercenaries show up to investigate the commotion. After he wipes them out, 106 is now able to drop down into the busted elevator shaft where he steps into the facility's morgue and sees... yeah, that guy's not wearing any task force uniform I've seen. These things are guiding him further and further into this wretched place, and around the corner 106 finds the 4th and final Backrooms expedition report. The operation is over. All squad members simultaneously stopped transmitting from their helmet camera feeds, and all the coordinators back at Site-83 heard was deafening static before the gas mask alarms in the facility went off and everyone got in gear. Upon radioing for a quick response team, the remaining Horizon employees at Site-83 had their communications and elevators disabled by their executives, leaving them completely stranded deep below the frozen wilderness while they waited for someone to come help them. Well, someone showed up alright, but he carries a SPAS 12 in each hand and he isn't here to help them. Upon opening the gate in front of him, 106 finally sees what these ghosts were trying to show him. In what appears to be a small prison within the facility, bloodstains and garbage bags litter the floor, accompanied by hammers, saws, and other improvised torture devices. Horrible things have happened in this place, and ghostly shadows stand motionless in their chambers, but before 106 can leave, the path in front of him is blocked as the apparitions rise from the floor with loud static coming from the... Once again, 106 is teleported out of harm's way by the crystal. Now he finds himself back in the back rooms, and right outside the room he gets transported to, 106 comes across the corpse of a Horizon mercenary, but it doesn't have any bloodstains or signs of damage on or around it. After giving it a good whack, a grenade appears, but 106 quickly dodges away before it can explode next to him. Alright, looks like Horizon's got some new tricks up their sleeves that they probably got from harnessing the anomalous properties of this place, and down the hall, 106 hears a Horizon mercenary named Blue Sky over the radio warning a squad about anomalous activity in the area right as 106 approaches them. Before he drops down on them though, 106 climbs onto an upper level and finds the phone of a deceased expedition member laying next to his body. The mercenary writes about how his team suddenly vanished and the inner mechanisms of his gun have inexplicably corroded with rust. He hunkered down to catch his breath, and that's all he wrote. So it seems like this version of the backrooms is so hazardous to the point where if it wants you dead, you're gonna die. This dude was just minding his own business when his entire squad disappeared into thin air and his gun became useless. This is more evidence that 106 is able to keep escaping certain death here because something is looking out for him, and it's probably whatever is controlling the Vox system because it's the only thing that's given an actual reason for not wanting him dead, as it's directly told him it wants him to find it. Basically what I'm saying is that since we know the crystal is what teleports things to and from its pocket dimension, the backrooms, it stands to reason that it's in control of not only the Vox system but probably a whole lot of other things in this world as well, and it's the thing that's been looking out for 106. Now, why does it care about him, and what about the ghosts and the torture chamber and all that? Well, we'll get to that eventually. Right now 106 has to take out these enemies, and as he's doing so, one of them does that same disappearing act that the grenade corpse did earlier, and after wiping out the whole squad, 106 heads up the stairwell and sees another corpse that does the very same grenade thing. This whole place is suitably getting more and more weird as he delves deeper into it, and the next room takes it to a whole new level. That same grenade corpse guy is here again. He just keeps disappearing, and those ghosts are here too. They're laughing at 106 and stalking his every move. But wait a minute, what happened to the exit? It was just here a second ago. What the hell, that guy is here again? He never speaks too, he just keeps making some inhuman distorted noise, and once again when 106 kills him, he just disappears. Pressing forward, 106 hears Blue Sky over the radio again saying that the squad he just contacted like 3 minutes ago hasn't responded in 2 hours. So judging by Miller's note from 2031, the expedition member's gun rusting up, and Blue Sky's comment about the other squad, I think there may be some kind of time distortion going on here as well. This place is maddening, and before 106 drops down on the Blue Sky officer and his squad, the officer says that he detects anomalous activity right here and right now. Alright, that's the third time 106 has been called anomalous, but why? Is it because he's a super soldier? Is it because the crystal has the hots for him for whatever reason? After whooping the Blue Sky officer and more duplicates of that magical orange visor guy, 106 finally kills the real mercenary behind the clones and grenade corpses. It was Dr. Samuel Meir, a Horizon researcher who was believed to have been killed in a previous Task Force 27 raid, but as we know, he's kind of got a knack for coming back from the dead. It looks like his fun is finally over though, since one of the clones 106 takes out is a bit more unique than the rest. Instead of simply falling over and dying, the body decomposes almost immediately into an otherworldly black substance with wisps of spectral energy emanating from his loathsome remains. Also in this room is another expedition log written by one of the members saying he's hearing voices and seeing shadows, only to find that he and his team's radio transmissions are being played back to them. So not only is this place incredibly dangerous, it's also outright malicious, apparently taking glee in inflicting fear and unrest in any unwelcome visitor unfortunate enough to find themselves within its domain. Luckily for 106, his exit is stage left, and when he approaches the same green glow he saw in the earlier backrooms area, he hears screams behind him once again, but this time the door has been shut on whatever was making them. Wasting no time, 106 finally escapes the wretched backrooms, and the Vox system ominously tells him that he has arrived at his destination and opens a door for him to proceed. Judging by the fact that he now finds himself in the Subject 83 containment chamber, the crystal was indeed the thing protecting and guiding him this whole time, but why? What motivations could this thing possibly have? Does it also hate Horizon? And look down there, it's the rest of 106's squad, but who are they shooting at? I don't see any Horizon guys down there. Coming down to help his teammates, 106 links back up with his squad leader, the same one whose voice was being used by that ghost earlier. He's alive, he's perfectly fine, and he and his remaining squad members are getting ready to fire the Horizon experimental high-powered laser laser at the oh, here we go. Once again, rising from the depths, the whole head ghosts appear again and vaporize 106's squad right in front of him, disabling the laser but leaving him unscathed. It's here where a bizarre series of events take place, resembling some kind of eldritch ritual in which 106 has to feed the ghosts in order to appease them. Each time 106 approaches a breaker box to try and reroute power back to the laser, the ghosts appear and block his path but never actually hurt him in any way. Squads of Horizon mercenaries ride elevators down into the cavern to try and kill 106, but when he eliminates each one, waves of electricity absorb their bodies and the groups of hole heads blocking the power boxes become electrified. When 106 walks through the cloud of energy, a strange wailing sound can be heard, then the energy dissipates and 106 can now use the previously inaccessible breaker box. Among the mercenaries that 106 kills is a soldier named Charon, a high-level Horizon mercenary who's made a name for himself cleaning up after Horizon's mistakes. Yeah, so this is that team of specialists that the Horizon executives assembled to take over. After killing him and a particularly challenging Juggy with a minigun, 106 restores power to the laser and activates it to destroy the
It's not your time. Yes.
I know you probably have a lot of questions, but I can't answer any of them. There is no intel document that says the shard houses the spirit of a 300-year-old Russian woman named Olga. There's no voice line that explains the back rooms were created decades ago in a failed government experiment or something, and there's nothing whatsoever about what the hell that thing outside the bathroom was. These are otherworldly beings with power and motivations no human could possibly understand, and that's what Horizon and the Russians never realized. If there is supposed to be a day where everything makes sense, then maybe we'll know what really happened here at Site-83, but as the crystal says, right now it's just not our time yet. Returning to the safe house, Raven remarks on how bizarre it is that everyone else in 106's squad completely vanished without a trace, and the quartermaster rightly says that there are some things better left alone in this world, and he's shocked but glad that 106 is still okay. The director is equally stunned, commenting on how 106's medical report says he's completely fine despite what he went through, and she says that her researchers are still trying to discern what exactly caused all those shenanigans back there. The central area is different once again, but seeing as how there isn't really anything to bring back from Site-83 for analysis, it looks like it's mostly back to being dedicated to general research. The director tells 106 she's happy with his accomplishment, but she says as long as Horizon is active, people are going to die, and Horizon is getting pissed at Task Force 27 meddling in their business all the time. A friendly task force is under attack by a large contingent of Horizon forces, and the director is sending 106 in to help take them out. He's headed to the Task Force 63 Command Center, which is staffed mostly by non-combat personnel, so 106 doesn't have much time before they're overrun. On the way out to the helipad, the quartermaster tells 106 to take care of his friends over at Task Force 63, saying that he actually used to be stationed there a while ago, and 106 hops into the helicopter with Raven, who tells him to buckle in because this one's gonna be personal. It would seem that 106's reputation precedes him, since as soon as he drops into the Task Force 63 base, the current commanding officer thanks the director for sending him her golden boy. Things are not looking good down here though. There's injured 63 guys everywhere and their numbers are dwindling. The current commanding officer, codenamed Monitor, asks 106 to secure the western cargo wing so they can extract their wounded using Task Force 27's air support. A nearby screen fills us in on the developing situation. The Task Force 63 director is dead. He was surrounded by Horizon soldiers and he cashed out before they could get to him. He sent out his final directives to his men and says Monitor is acting boss while he's pushing up daisies, and he also says that if anyone else is surrounded they should eat their guns too. Good lord, is that a testament to how ruthless Horizon is with their POWs, or is it a sign of how insanely dedicated these task force guys are? Check out the architecture in this place too. It's pretty futuristic looking and it matches the surprisingly advanced structures we saw underneath the Task Force Force 27 safe house when the director showed 106 the nuke. Now, this stuff really makes me wonder what organization the task forces are a part of, but right now isn't a time for speculation. As 106 makes his way down to the cargo wing, he sees medics working frantically to help their comrades and hears explosions and gunshots shaking the entire base, so there's no time to lose. It's interesting though to see that everyone recognizes him already, having no doubt heard of his previous exploits, and they're even willing to lend him a hand in getting back the cargo wing. Stepping into the loading bay, 106 takes out the occupying Horizon mercenaries and the bay doors open so the Task Force 27 choppers can start helping people escape. But before they show up, 106 hears some very strange sounds coming from a shipping container and investigates.
They got anti-air guns! Fuck. Director, we're falling back. LC is a no-go. Fuck, we're flooding in. We're cut off.
We're not off to a good start here. 106 actually gets knocked on his ass for once by those assholes in the shipping container, and on top of that, Horizon owns the skies with their F-15s and anti-air guns, so the choppers aren't much help right now. The 6-3 squad that was helping 106 take care of the cargo wing is toast. Poor guys didn't stand a chance against the invasion, and the dude who dragged 106 to safety used up all their ammo trying to keep the two of them alive. Horizon is trying to box the task forces in, and now 106 has to backtrack to where he was earlier to try and secure the docks, but they're caved in too. The director tells 106 to try the other loading bay then, since there's still some 6-3 guys over there and they're in mostly decent shape, but they won't last long. After Monitor opens a door for him, 106 enters an area full of Horizon mercs, and as he's fighting them, he hears the facility's intercom has been hijacked by the coordinator of the Horizon invasion. It's a man simply known as the Auditor, pressuring the surviving Task Force 6-3 guys into surrendering, saying their leaders have abandoned them. That's not true, they just sent 106 in to help them out, and when he fights through the small squad of enemies, he finds a laptop with a Horizon mission briefing on it. They are really hammering this place. They're attacking with multiple divisions, and it looks like the primary goal of the offensive is to capture as many task force personnel as possible and gather as much intel as they can on certain locations around the world. Could these be other task force sites? Again, there's not much time for speculation right now. The command wing housing Monitor and the other 6-3 officers is under attack, and 106 needs to take a detour and get over there to stop the Horizon mercenaries from breaching the door to it. One of the mercenaries attacking the command wing is a high-value target named Duran, a former Task Force 27 member who defected to Horizon after he failed to follow protocol and end his subscription to life before being captured. Damn, so the task force really expects you to be so loyal as to do that? Who the hell do we work for? ISIS? I guess maybe Horizon doesn't kill all their POWs though, huh? Well, 106 isn't the diplomatic type, so he gets Duran and his Horizon cronies off Monitor's back for him, making sure him and the other 6-3 officers in the command wing are safe before heading over to the eastern cargo bay, the last possible extraction point. The Auditor can still be heard over the intercom saying that the situation is hopeless for the task forces and they should just give up. I think I'm starting to believe him, because when 106 makes it to the eastern cargo wing, Monitor says that he's still picking up the signals of the 6-3 guys who ask for help, but they're nowhere to be found. The director scans the room and says she's got life signs, but they're coming from the shipping containers. It's the 6-3 guys. They're so badly wounded they're just hiding, and the Auditor makes his first direct address to 106 to gloat about his accomplishments. He even greets the director as well, so that means this guy must have pretty intimate knowledge about how these task forces work. The Auditor commands his men to attack the loading bay, and a fierce fight ensues where 106 is dropped supplies by Raven and the other Task Force 27 pilots, braving the anti-air guns so they can help the remaining 6-3 guys. When the job is done and 106 has fended off multiple waves of Horizon troops, he drops a flare for a 2-7 chopper to drop some So now Task Force 27 is down a chopper, the loading bay is sealed shut, and all these guys in the shipping containers are barely able to walk. The director tells Monitor to cut his losses and extract with his command wing, but he says no, he's not leaving his men. Luckily for us, 106 suddenly gains superpowers and flies the injured 6-3 guys to safety with the power of friendship. Alright, we all know what really happened, so let's just get this over with. Monitor doesn't budge, saying that he's not leaving his men in the shipping containers behind, and the director says that since there's no way out for these guys except with Horizon, she tells 106 to take him out himself. She doesn't even make it sound like a mercy killing or anything. All she cares about is to intel that Horizon would get out of them. I mean, it was one thing for her not to give a rat's ass about all the Task Force 27 guys who die in missions all the time, but geez, where is this woman's priorities? At this point, it should be sinking in that this lady is no Cortana or BT friendly presence in your ear serving as your companion as you go along, okay? She is all business. She doesn't ask how 106 is doing, she barely reacts to any of the crazy stuff he sees, and she sure as hell doesn't care if she loses a few soldiers, to the point where her hatred for Horizon makes her as single-minded and robotic as 106 himself, possibly even more so. So, even though they had just saved him earlier, 106 does what he's told, and when the deed is done, he hears over the radio of one last area in need of support. The excavation wing still has some 6-3 survivors in it, and they need support right away, so 106 heads over there to help out. On the way over, the auditor is heard over the intercom again, saying that all the 6-3 guys can do at this point is surrender. He's even using what 106 just did as leverage, saying that he's just a lapdog who'll kill them too if necessary, but the 6-3 guys just think he's bullshitting them. Right, cause we would never do that. On the way over to the excavation wing, 106 walks into a— wait a minute, what's going on?
Open the door.
Task Force 6-3, stand down. Lower your weapons. Sir, what the hell are you doing? Saving all of us. We got a better shot with Horizon than the Syndicate at this point. Let's get your men out of here.
Stand back, 106. I'm getting this door open.
Looks like your people are dead set on killing us, Ace. For what it's worth, I don't hate you. Mag, dump this piece of shit, man. What was that? Oh, fuck.
Now, I've played this level I think 5 or 6 times at this point, and I still have no idea what exactly just happened here. The director apparently has the ability to summon a laser cannon out of her bony ass, I guess, and use it to vaporize anything she wants. I don't even really know what to say, it's just something she can do apparently. 106 obviously doesn't say anything about it, she never mentions it whatsoever, and the game keeps right on going like nothing happened. Geez, imagine asking her for like a raise or time off or something. But did you hear what Monitor said though? He mentioned the Syndicate again and implied that the task forces are linked to it somehow. The very same Syndicate we heard all the way back in the Pandora Institute Black Ops mission log and the cabal that the cultists would never shut up about. Monitor isn't some schizophrenic zealot though, so this is basically confirmation that the Syndicate is real and that's who we're working for. That's a pretty loaded revelation, but there's not really much I can say about it now since we know nothing about the Syndicate, so if we want to learn more, we gotta keep moving. On the screens that were originally used to display the 6-3 director's final message, the auditor has hijacked the transmission to display another message telling the Task Force 6-3 members that they're surrounded by thousands of Horizon personnel and their only option to survive is to hand themselves over. And you know what? He's right, because the director is telling 106 to just kill everyone at this point, since 6-3 defecting to the enemy designates them as hostiles. What the fuck, man? I bought this game to feel like a cool super soldier guy, not a war criminal. I gotta turn on confetti mode, dude. This is too heavy. Breaching the door to the command wing, 106 engages the 6-3 members, and after the director makes a comment that makes her sound like she's having a little too much fun with all this, 106 finally enters the 6-3 headquarters. After fighting squads of both 6-3 soldiers and Horizon mercenaries, 106 finds an intel document from a Task Force 6-3 operator submitting a report on their containment group's activities. These guys aren't just supply runners, it looks like they hunt and contain anomalies as well. They handle all kinds of preternatural entities, from skinwalkers to time distortions to anomalous foliage. There's a lot of intel in here too, it must be what Horizon was after. The director won't be having any of that though, and tells 106 to blow the whole place so nothing can be salvaged from it. When all the hard drives are busted, Monitor himself faces the music and emerges with his last remaining men to try and kill 106. What a mess. Interestingly though, the auditor never makes an appearance here, meaning he is one of the first ever Horizon members to not blindly run into a gunfight with Subject 106 and die like a dumbass. Congratulations, congratulations.
You need to find a way out now.
Right, the whole place is about to explode, and Raven is saying he's coming in to get 106 and doesn't give a shit about the AA guns. Seeing an exit to the outside, 106 runs to— In a rare moment of solitude, 106 takes a seat and ponders the day's events. Remorseful, he looks at his hand, and we see for the first time Subject 106 is shaken by something. Not by a gunshot wound or a giant nauseous creature or an evil parallel dimension, but by his own actions, and he seems to be asking himself something. In a world full of monsters, is he a monster too? Alright, now that the emotional moment has passed, can you guys tell me what's wrong with this picture? UH-60s taking down F-15s? What the fuck? Do they have laser guns too? How do three guys, remember, because Sparrow crash landed so they were down a chopper, how do three guys pull this shit off? Back at the safe house, 106 hears the pilots over the radio having an incongruently pleasant chat about their latest mission, and nobody seems to give a f that hundreds of good people died. At least the quartermaster is suitably mournful, and he makes a rather shrewd comment about how if he was still serving with Task Force 6-3, 106 probably would have killed him too. The central area is different once again, containing some monitors and equipment from the 6-3 base, and the director consoles 106, saying that they did what they had to do and he should just put what happened behind him. Horizon is still up to their old tricks, and despite their recent victory, the task forces have put a good dent in the company's operations. The director is sending 106 to another top-secret black site, a large oil platform codenamed Site-44, the Omega facility. Accompanying him will be a group of newly transferred 2-7 soldiers called Wraith Squad. The quartermaster tells 106 to be nice and show the new guys the ropes, although Raven is uneasy at the amount of new faces he's seeing, and 106 hops into the chopper as they take off for Site-44. The level opens with 106 apparently being teleported into a secluded wing of the oil platform as he overhears Wraith Squad say they're in position. Seriously, I have no idea how he got in this room. I mean, I don't see a ladder or anything, no hatch on the roof, no broken windows. Am I missing something? Anyway, the director tells 106 that the oil platforms are linked with drawbridges, but they're all disabled right now, so he has to go realign them so that he and his squad can get over into the research sector. As he's taking out the security personnel outside, 106 hears over the loudspeaker a Horizon officer named Cassius Morrison, a very interesting high-value target who serves as the security administrator of Site-44. Morrison is a former Royal Navy submarine captain who was forced into retirement after he mindlessly followed orders to destroy an enemy vessel that was later found out to be full of human trafficking victims. Looking to add more names to their list of war criminals they employ, Horizon scooped him up as soon as he got out of the Navy, and he's been working for them ever since. On a table right next to the drawbridge button, 106 finds a folder containing a performance review of the Site-44 head researcher Dr. Shane Blackwell being evaluated by a Horizon executive named Dr. Marcus. Marcus is discussing the loss of the Pandora Institute, and he lists a few other Horizon black sites that were eligible to receive its diverted funding, but he says that he gave it all to Site-44 because of his belief in something called Project Icarus. He is concerned, however, with Dr. Blackwell's lack of progress on the initiative, expressing confusion because Blackwell is very well known within the company, having been vouched for not only by Dr. Kramer but the CEO Anton Lazar himself. Blackwell explains himself, saying that increased funding, staff, and support is worthless when what they need most is simply time. When 106 activates the drawbridge, Wraith Squad begins their diversion for him, and the facility Vox system announces that there's been a security breach. Dr. Blackwell can be heard over the radio panicking about the invasion, and Morrison tells the civilian personnel to evacuate immediately. Seeing Raven engage some choppers, 106 notices monitors on the walls displaying diagnostics and readouts being sent directly to Horizon headquarters, so whatever they're doing here must be pretty important. As 106 fights through more Horizon mercenaries on the other platform, he hears Captain Morrison ask if Dr. Blackwell has extracted yet, but he says he can't leave his work behind and asks for Morrison to send his best security personnel to keep him safe. Deploying a flare for Wraith Squad, 106 sees them drop into a roof hatch above a control room and take out the Horizon personnel inside before activating an elevator for 106 to take down deeper into the platform. Lying on a table outside the control room is another folder containing a private correspondence between Captain Morrison and Dr. Blackwell. Blackwell is on his way out, apparently being fired by the higher-ranking Dr. Marcus, who's putting Morrison in to take over. Blackwell isn't bitter about it though, and has encouraged his staff to keep working on Project Icarus because he believes Morrison may be able to get better results than he was ever able to. On the ride down the elevator, 106 hears Morrison tell Blackwell that he really needs to leave, but Blackwell says that Project Icarus is too important to be destroyed. Alright, let's have a look here and see. Holy shit! After a very cheeky-juggy encounter, 106 fights through some Horizon personnel down in the lower levels of the Omega-2 platform, and the director tells him to patch her into the heatsink system so she can help him blow them up. Tossing some frag grenades into a couple heatsinks, 106 hears Blackwell call him a lunatic and frantically tell his men to stop the invader from destroying any more of them. Once 106 blows up the last one, the platform starts to melt down and Blackwell himself tries to come in to prevent that from happening. When 106 kills the doctor, Morrison hears the news and tells everyone to fall back to the Omega-3 platform, which is coincidentally 106's next stop on the path to the research sector on the Omega-4 platform. 106 comes back up the elevator and meets up with some very enthusiastic Wraith Squad members, laying waste to the remaining Horizon mercenaries, and when they're all taken care of, he activates the drawbridge to get over to the third platform.
Open fire! Whoa, fuck, fucking prick! All choppers pull out!
Well, looks like Captain Morrison has himself a Typhoon-class submarine, and he's making trouble for Raven and his pilot buddies. Stepping onto the Omega-3 platform, 106 hears a Horizon scientist named Dr. Hollowell arguing with his security escorts that they need to go get his research and there's no point in extracting now because they're all completely surrounded. Well, that's an astute observation, Professor, but your degree isn't much help against an invisible super soldier maniac now, is it? Why don't you try thinking your way out of that one, asshole? It's nice to finally kill one of these dumbass Horizon scientists for once, seeing as how they're the ones who cause all this shit. Excuse me. In the room behind Dr. Hollowell and his guards is a folder that details a collaboration project between Dr. Blackwell and a Dr. Clark, a researcher from the Pandora Institute. Blackwell is sharing his findings with a set of unnamed specimens that he says were capable of full body regeneration, but they all dissolved within an average time frame of 16 hours. Blackwell is mixing Pandorium, the substance harvested from Subject 97 back at the Pandora Institute, with something from Site-44 called Miracle Water and testing it on these specimens, which, knowing Horizon, have a good chance of being unwilling human test subjects. I guess Blackwell doesn't really read any newspapers very often though, because the exchange ends with an auto-reply from Dr. Clark saying that the Pandora Institute staff are no longer employed with Horizon, meaning this email was sent sometime after that little debacle over there took place. After 106 fights his way through some more mercenaries, Morrison surfaces in his submarine to initiate a counterattack by launching rocket-propelled drop pods with Horizon shock troopers in them onto the deck of the Omega-3 platform to try and kill 106. Once those guys are dead, a very frantic Horizon employee emerges from behind a gate and witnesses the carnage 106 has wrought. Damn, he keeps screaming at them to wake up and saying medics are on the way. I feel kinda bad actually. What the f was I supposed to do, man? This isn't a Disney movie. Moving past the distraught employee, 106 sees the Omega-4 research sector off in the distance, but Captain Morrison and his submarine are blocking his path. It's here where Subject 106 single-handedly goes toe-to-toe with a submarine and the dozens of shock troopers it deploys to fight him and eventually wins. This guy killed a submarine. Holy shit. I'm not sure I've ever been scared of the guy I'm playing as in a video game, but this dude's really starting to unsettle me. Happily bounding along the floating wreckage of Captain Morrison's submarine, 106 stops for a moment and hears the dying gasps of the drowning submarine crew. Yeah, apparently the lore is that they're in special escape pods, but things aren't working out for them. Wow, that is dark. Did you know the lead developer of this game posts pictures of bunny rabbits on his Reddit account? Finally arriving at the Omega-4 platform, 106 links back up with Wraith Squad and they tell him that they've activated the elevator that will take him down into the research sector. If you stick around with these two guys before going up the stairs, you can hear them talking about Ghost Squad, the guys that 106 went to Site 83 with, and I always like it when characters in a game discuss the events that happen in it. It makes it feel more lived in, you know? Over behind a few crates in front of the lift, 106 finds on the floor lying in a pile of burnt human bones a scroll containing the logbook entries written by the captain of a 19th century ship called the CSS Icarus, with CSS presumably standing for Confederate States ship. The captain is chronicling a journey where he and his crew of the CSS Icarus are transporting an unnamed artifact that he has been told is a weapon that will aid them in the war effort. The crew members are uneasy about the artifact and are reporting strange sightings of black ships in the distance and a dark hooded figure figure wielding a sword stalking them in the night. The log entries end with one of the crew members being found dead under suspicious circumstances and the ship's ammunition cache detonating, setting the vessel ablaze and dooming it to the bottom of the sea, with the artifact going missing along with all the ship's night watchmen. Now, this intel document is pretty damn cool, but unfortunately, I'm really at a loss for it. The only hooded figure with a sword we know of is Subject 105, the guy who broke 106 out of Site 14 in the beginning of the game, but to think he was dicking around in the 1800s looking for artifacts on Confederate ships is a little too ridiculous, even for Trepang2. Also, I have no idea what this artifact could be exactly, or how it relates to anything else not only in this level, but the entire game. Wilson says that the artifact is important to the operations of Site 44, but he also says that CSS is a reference to Counter-Strike Source. Where the Easter egg jokes end and the actual lore begins in the infamous Icarus Captain's logs, I'll let you be the judge. I'll examine it more closely in a future video, but as it stands right now, just consider it some more world building. Why is it in a pile of burnt remains? Oh, whatever. Taking the elevator down into the research sector, the director says she's picking up life signals down here, but they're all Task Force 27 operatives. Now get ready, this next part cannot be introduced with narration. You're just gonna have to see it for yourself.
My fellow colleagues, this is Blackwell. Although we've the direction of this project, so I will be resigning from my position as overseer.
What the hell is going on? What is that? Why does it know who the director is? Why is it calling out for Subject 105? Are these things who I think they are? Patching the director into a command terminal, 106 hears the Vox system announce an intruder alert and that the facility security measures have been deployed. As it turns out, those security measures bear a striking resemblance to a certain mute super soldier who we're all very familiar with. After a fucking epic battle that shows how frightening it would be to fight 106, the Vox system announces that Subject 95 is awakening. It's Dr. Emerson, the guy in the white hazmat suit we saw back at the Pandora Institute. He's as confused to why he's still alive as we are, and for some reason he seems to think that 106 is Subject 105. The director addresses Emerson and he says that Horizon is still trying to break the cycle, but the director says she won't let that happen. She tells him his retirement is long overdue, but Emerson says that if 106 wants to put him out of his misery, he's gonna have to get closer to him. Entering the mental development sector, 106 sees small rooms with televisions playing videos similar to the ones he was exposed to at Site 14, with bizarre imagery of nuclear explosions combined with positive affirmations and other random photographs. On the stairs up to Emerson's containment chamber, 106 sees a folder on a desk containing a document detailing tests conducted on Dr. Emerson using the Site 44 miracle water. Now things are starting to make a little more sense. The miracle water, the clones, Horizon found Emerson's body at the Pandora Institute and revived him with the miracle water so they could bring him here and figure out how to make super soldiers of their own. That poor bastard in the containment chamber is the original Emerson, and he has seen better days. The poor guy's been cloned dozens of times and he's been experimented on for who knows how long since the Pandora Institute went down, and the document says that Emerson is suffering from apoptosis, which means his cells are dying one by one. The miracle water kept him alive for a while, but now it has no effect on him, so it's just a matter of time until he dies for good. Something of note though is that the header of this document says that Emerson's condition is similar to a disease that Anton Lazar has, the CEO of the Horizon Corporation. I guess they were using Emerson not only to try and make their own super soldiers, but also to cure some strange ailment that Lazar is afflicted with. Walking over to Dr. Emerson, we can finally see just how much he's been broken down by the researchers here. Even he knows that there's no saving him, and he tells 106 to burn this horrible place along with him. The director reveals the heat sinks to be destroyed, and Emerson tells 106 that the cycle continues with him. Returning to the safe house, Raven tells 106 that he feels like they may have gone a little overboard back there at Site 44, and the quartermaster says that Wraith Squad is gone already. They transferred to another task force. The director consoles 106, saying that the Emerson he killed was only a copy of the original, and the central area is different once again, containing diagnostics from Site 44 and other assorted items. While the destruction of Site 44 may not have marked the very last of Horizon's black sites going up in flames, enough damage to the company has been dealt to finally enable Task Force 27 to launch a proper attack on the big man himself, Anton Lazar. Only problem is he's holed up in Horizon's corporate headquarters, an enormous building complex located in the privately owned Horizon Islands over in the Caribbean. It's gonna be all hands on deck for this one, and on the way out to the helipad, the quartermaster tells 106 that it's finally time to end this once and for all. Sliding down into the drainage systems below the Horizon corporate campus, 106 must first plant breach charges to disrupt the building's facilities. Battling the mercenaries guarding the area, 106 finds a laptop with an email on it from a disgruntled employee complaining that he's the only one who showed up to work tonight and he can't take care of everything by himself. On a crate nearby, 106 finds a newspaper with an article reporting on the Horizon Corporation's crumbling situation. The report says that anonymous hackers have revealed information regarding Horizon's experiments and their concealment of thousands of employee deaths, resulting in rapidly decreasing stock prices and people quitting the company left and right. It also says Anton Lazar is blaming the scandal on a conspiracy about a shadowy group controlling the world behind the scenes, which is not helping matters. And check this out, those fucking desk jockeys over at the FBI put an APB out on him only after Task Force 27 did all the heavy lifting for them. When all the charges are planted, 106 takes the elevator up to the surface and the attack on Horizon Tower begins. Moving across the bridge, 106 encounters a high-value target named Chet Lindsay, a Horizon executive who's responsible for recruiting many of Horizon's top scientists and military contractors. He's losing his mind, screaming that everyone's gonna die and that he was told he'd be safe in these MRAPs. An intel document on a couch just around the corner explains what he means. Horizon, expecting an invasion by Task Force 27, decided to load their civilian personnel into their military vehicles. And the Task Force 27 pilots, seeing them as armed and dangerous military vehicles, lit them up without a second thought. Holy shit, that was probably somebody's mom, dude. If we weren't war criminals before, we are now. Being joined by another task force squad, 106 makes his way into the enormous Horizon towers and fights through the defending mercenaries and bodyguards. On the reception desk in the tower lobby, 106 finds a computer displaying a resignation letter on it written by a Horizon employee named Simone Williams, who's quitting now that she's heard of what Horizon does behind closed doors. Right next to the laptop is a folder containing a letter from the Horizon Board of Directors addressed to Anton Lazar. They're telling him that they're defunding his $100 million personal security team and that he needs to hand himself over now to end all this insanity. Holy crap, so this means that many of the Horizon employees had no idea about any of this stuff, and Lazar was even keeping things secret from his own board of directors. A lot of these people do have consciences, which is a level of depth and complexity I don't often see given to antagonistic fictional companies. Probably because companies in real life don't have that level of depth or complexity, but whatever, it's a cool angle to take here. This means that the remaining personnel in the tower are the most dedicated and fanatical of Lazar's followers, and nobody embodies this more than the notorious Horizon corporate soldiers, or as they are more commonly known, the lawyer thugs. These guys are often rightly called the toughest enemies in the entire game, and I don't disagree. They are the result of Horizon being backed into a corner and giving everything they've got to try and fight to the very last man. And I really wish I could talk about them more, but I gotta keep it moving. The lawyer thugs will get their time in the spotlight one day, I promise. Now, something you may have noticed is all the television screens in this place. They're showing news broadcasts reporting more on Horizon's overall conditions, and they're getting hit from everywhere. But these are straight up terrorist attacks. Arson setting apartment buildings ablaze in Utah, car bombings destroying entire city blocks in California, pipeline sabotage starting forest fires in Missouri. This is sloppy work, and these attacks are happening all over the country, leaving hundreds dead, but what the hell? That couldn't have been Task Force 27. On a table in the lounge area, 106 finds a phone displaying an email from Anton Lazar back to the board of directors. He's asking them to reconsider their position, saying that all the headlines are lies and he's so close to making all the human trafficking and experimentation worth it. On a couch, 106 finds a phone phone with another resignation letter on it, this time from an employee named Jonas Smith. On a different table, there's another email from Lazar, this time addressed to his staff, and this one is actually rather poignant and definitely reads as genuine. He starts by saying that they're being attacked by one of the world's oldest and most corrupt organizations, yada yada. Don't be so dramatic, dude. Task Force 27 isn't Ubisoft. But the unique part is that he says if anybody wants to leave, they should do it now, and if anyone wants to stay, they should know they are going to die. He says that this is the end of Horizon and himself, but he's fighting for what he believes in, and that it's been his greatest honor to work alongside his employees. Wow, I wonder if the real Jeff Bezos would say that in this situation. Stepping over to the elevator that the lawyer thugs took to get down here, 106 hops in and rides the lift to the upper floors where Anton Lazar is hiding out. As he ascends, Lazar hops on the radio to try and plead with him that he's making a mistake and he's burning down the hopes and dreams of thousands of innovators, and this isn't justice, it's genocide. Arriving at the tower atrium, 106 hears on the radio Lazar urging his men to just leave and that there's nothing to die here for, but his bodyguards say they're not abandoning the greatest mind of their generation. Over on a couch, 106 finds a phone with an email addressed to Lazar's personal helicopter pilot sent from Dr. Marcus, the guy who is talking to Blackwell in the Site-44 intel logs, telling them that before they take off, he thinks he can install something that may help with the quote-unquote upload process. Moving up the stairs, 106 finds on a desk a laptop showing an email to Horizon HR from Annette Champagne, telling her staff that the company is getting 1-star reviews across the board and they need to find a way to cover it up. Yeah, good luck with that. Moving across the walkway, 106 sees another one of those little drones off in the corner. Interacting with it, the drone displays a decrypted Task Force 27 transmission talking about, well, him actually. It says there's a high chance of cognitive dissonance occurring if he's involved in something called Phase 1, so he needs to be kept in the underpass until he's needed. The message ends saying that the cycle is almost complete. Well, it seems that Task Force 27 is hiding something from 106, and I'm sure he'd love to know what that is, but it's not exactly like he can go back and ask them right now. Fighting through more groups of Horizon soldiers, 106 keeps moving further up the tower and finds a bar with a phone on the counter displaying a message from Lazar to all his remaining personnel. Alright man, I gotta admit, this guy's not making it easy for me to hate him. I'm starting to think it's possible he may not be only motivated by money and science. I mean, even if what he's saying about the research is bullshit and it was just for the money, he did tell his men that they should just leave, and he really does come across like he appreciates what they're doing for him, which again is more than I can say for a certain other faction leading figure in this game. Well, 106 isn't moved by it, and neither am I, frankly, at least not enough to make me forget the kids at the Pandora Institute, so 106 continues working his way through the upper levels of the tower, and eventually he finds himself in a large art exhibit where a high-value target named Derek Oliver is waiting for him. Derek, an executive responsible for handling the financial end of Horizon's illicit activities, is clearly aware that 106 is coming to kill everybody and there's nothing they can do, and he cracks a morbid joke about how none of them are getting paid overtime for any of this. Moving up some more stairs, 106 hears Dr. Marcus over the radio telling Anton that all the volunteers are in place. When a laser gate blocks his path, 106 moves to the adjacent room and finds a laptop showing an email sent to all personnel calling them for an emergency project. But for some reason it says they only want people with high IQs and master's degrees. Oh boy, what are they planning now?
6, what have they done to you? You can't do this to me. I've sacrificed everything for this!
He's uploading his consciousness. You have to stop him.
Just when you thought this game couldn't get any more ludicrous, the final boss, Jeff Bezos, must be fought in a high-rise penthouse by blowing up giant brains that he's trying to upload his mind to so that he can become immortal. Yes, it is as gnarly as it sounds, and as the fight goes on, Lazar says all sorts of things, talking about how he trusted the Syndicate and they betrayed him, and how 106 is walking in his footsteps. Interestingly, you heard earlier when the fight began that Lazar asked 106 what quote-unquote they did to him, which reminds me of when he told 106 that he was never supposed to be a weapon back at the Pandora Institute. I still don't know what the hell he's talking about, but that's interesting, I guess. Now, while all this is going on, Dr. Marcus is cutting guys' heads open and removing their brains so that they can be put in these machines to act as receptacles for Lazar's mind. How do you come up with this stuff? They ought to credit cocaine as an assistant writer on their website. When enough brains are destroyed, Raven drops off some breach charges for 106 to use to get into Lazar's little protected... They took out Raven. It was Horizon 1, Lazar's personal helicopter, and it's carrying the last brain. I hope he brought a parachute. After 106 brings the chopper down, all the brains are destroyed and Lazar's mind is fried. It's here where Lazar can be heard dreaming and saying all kinds of juicy story-related things that I covered way more extensively in my Anton Lazar video, so go watch that one to hear about the dreams. Like I said, we gotta keep it moving here. When 106 goes to place the charges, he falls to his knees and clutches his head in pain, and then this happens.
Break the cycle. What are you talking about?
Priority target is KIA. You've done it, 106. Horizon is finished.
So, not the usual storybook ending, but mission accomplished. Horizon is destroyed, the driving force behind all their corruption is dead, and 106's job here is finally done. I wonder if the guys are gonna throw a party for him. Celebrations are in order after all. I mean, he's done so much to help out. Wait, what's going on?
Don't fight it.
What is that?
You're our most valuable asset, 106. You served the Syndicate well. It's time for you to retire now. You're one of many cycles, 106.
All units were under attack by unknown elements. Execute Operation Bright Star immediately.
Subject 106 has escaped.
Get inside the chopper, 106. We're gonna get you out of here.
106, this is Raven. I'll be your pilot from now on. You know what? You kinda remind me of the last guy I flew.
It's a pleasure to finally meet you, 106. Welcome to Task Force 27. Everything we do is for the greater good. We have a mission ready for you. Your objective is to rescue Dr. Emerson.
Alright, we're approaching the Pandora Institute.
A toast to our beloved volunteers. Horizon and the rest of the world will remember your sacrifice.
Dr. Emerson is in that tower.
106, man of the hour.
Welcome to Site 97.
106, do not engage that subject. Get out of there! I'm picking up Dr. Emerson's signal. He's close by. He's dead. There's nothing we can do for him. Your next objective is to destroy the subject. Arm up. I've got a plan. 106, can you hear me?
Not even 1 week since your escape, and you've already destroyed one of my facilities. Allow me to make one thing clear, 6. You were never supposed to be a weapon.
That's what Horizon's hiding behind closed doors. That's why we're here, to correct their mistakes, one black site at a time. Now that you know what we're up against, I have to show you something. We can't risk this facility falling into enemy hands. I've got your next mission in the briefing room.
Those cultists are a bunch of freaks.
Raven taking off.
The unyielding cabal enslaves all. To arms, my holy warriors, to arms.
You, the false prophet, cut from the same vine as the patriarch. You'll defile this world.
Director, we've got unidentified helos closing in fast.
All stations, our first priority is to rescue Dr. Kramer. Avoid subject 106 at all costs.
Readout says that's Dr. Kramer's corpse. Guess this is a bigger loss to Horizon than us. All units, 106 has eyes on the Patriarch.
You weren't the first they sent to kill me. Spare me the sin of killing another brother.
The enemy triumphs today, but our sacrifice will not be in vain. My children lay dead beneath your feet. Do you even know why you're here?
Even in our darkest hour, my sons come to defend me. Can the Syndicate say the same to you? Break the cycle. What a fucking mission, sir.
Yeah, you get used to it.
Outstanding work, 106.
Don't got a lot of intel on this mission.
Hilo is ready to go.
Be prepared for anything, 106.
Director, we located the elevator.
Signal's getting spotty down there.
Looks like we're on our own here.
Where the hell is everyone?
Attention, morgue is over capacity.
We can't hold out for much longer.
Find me.
We're detecting more anomalous activity. Here. Get ready, man.
You have arrived at your destination.
Hit it again! We're gonna destroy this thing!
It's not your time yet.
That's what Horizon doesn't understand. Anomalies aren't meant to be played with.
As long as Horizon's still active, everyone's in danger. Looks like Task Force 63 is about to be overrun.
Take care of him for me, boss.
106, this one's personal. Thanks for the assist, 27. I see you've sent your ace in the hole.
See you on the other side. Get down!
Director, we're falling back.
Fuck, we're flooding in. We're cut off.
You're still alive.
alive.
How many more have to die before you realize your leaders have abandoned you?
Shit! You gotta get to the eastern cargo wing now.
Charge set.
I'm hit! Mayday! Mayday! I'm going down!
Fuck! That was our only way out!
6-3, you need to cut your losses and extract without your wounded.
Captured or not, my men are loyal.
This isn't a question about loyalty. Horizon knows how to make anyone talk. 106. Terminate them.
What are you doing? You rotten son of a bitch.
6-3, your director would have done the same thing.
Even your own friends have turned against you.
Task Force 6-3, stand down. Looks like your people are dead set on killing essays. For what it's worth, I don't hate you.
106, terminate them.
Let's get this over with.
Leave no survivors, 106.
The director told me what happened.
Task Force 6-3 made their choice. We did what we had to do.
This'll be Wraith's first operation in Task Force 27. Show 'em how it's done, boss.
Security alert. Omega-1 compromised.
All civilian personnel, evacuate immediately.
That's another chopper down. Why aren't they fighting back?
More time. If I could just have more time.
Director, they got a submarine in the water. Holy hell.
106, I'm picking up a signal near your position. That can't be.
Subject 95 awakening. Activating emergency security protocol.
Am I still alive?
106, terminate subject 095.
The cycle continues with you.
The real Emerson died at the Pandora Institute. What we killed was just an imitation.
Horizon needs to pay for everything they've done to us and to you.
106 is on board, moving to rally point.
All teams, begin the assault.
Target-rich environment.
Come on, sir. We don't have time to waste.
Welcome to Horizon Towers. We made mistakes. Some people died. We'll try again and again, and when we succeed, we'll save the lives of millions.
Subject 106, look around you. These aren't military targets, these are civilians. What you're committing today isn't justice, it's genocide. Attention all personnel, evacuate now. That's an order.
Negative, sir. We can't do that. Not until you're safe.
Wish I could have done more for all of you.
He's uploading his consciousness. You have to stop him.
6. What have they done to you? I trusted the Syndicate. They betrayed me. You're walking in my footsteps, 6. Stop before it's too late! Break the cycle. What are you talking about?
Priority target is KIA. You've done it, 106. Horizon is finished. Now that your purpose is fulfilled, Cycle 106 is complete.
So all this time, 106 was a lowly janitor cleaning up the Syndicate's mess. Horizon was made by Anton Lazar, who was made by Task Force 27, and all the other subjects are just pawns in the Syndicate's endless quest for control. And now that they're done with 106, some other guy will take his place and the cycle will continue forever. Well, it would have, but if there's one thing I've learned about Subject 106, it's this. You can lock him up in handcuffs, you can light him on fire and shoot him, and you can call him any mean name you want. But if you actually want to live afterwards, you probably shouldn't do it within a 2-foot radius. Making his way over to the crematory exit, 106 prepares himself for the coming assault, but not before noticing something peculiar in another furnace tray. An old friend has left him one last gift, helping out his comrade for the final time. Now armed with his brother's blade and the righteous fury of vengeance in his heart, 106 finally decides to do what he should have done the moment he set foot in his place. Alright, I fucking love Waterworks, and I wish I could keep the montages going, but there is actually an entire final level here, with a couple of intel logs I have to talk about, so I gotta get back to narrating. Oh, and if you're wondering why the hell they're trying to burn 106 alive rather than just shooting him in the head, that's a discussion for another video, and trust me, I will talk about it. It's one of my biggest issues with the game's story. But yeah man, 106 actually rebels, and it's great hearing him completely ignore the director too. That was the toxic relationship if I've ever seen one. Like I said though, there's actually a couple intel documents in the crematory here, and one of them is an incinerator report that can be found on a laptop over by the back of the room. Task Force 27 is cleaning up everything related to Horizon and the Cycle program. Subjects 95 and 105 were cremated, with Subject 78 waiting to be burned as well, although interestingly it says Subject 91, the Patriarch, had insufficient remains to incinerate. The other intel document in this room is the infamous 106 status report, which has sparked much debate about who exactly is being depicted in this gnarly picture here. That is also a very long discussion, I'll say, for another video, but there is still some more important info to glean from this document, mainly the confirmation that 106's purpose as a cycle was simply to kill Anton Lazar and the Patriarch along with their respective organizations, and that armor and speed improvements are recommended for the next cycle. Leaving the incinerator room, 106 sees the doors that lead to the surface, but remembers there's a quaint little thermonuclear bomb with a big red button on it just waiting for him in the lower levels of the safe house, and decides it's time for him to make things right. Over the intercom, 106 hears a high-ranking task force member announce to all stations that 106 has betrayed them. Now at first you would think this is just a monumentally irreverent thing to say, that by not willfully lying down and dying, 106 has done them wrong, but I actually think the reason the Banshee leader may have said that is because some of the other task force members aren't even aware of what they were going to do to 106, and by saying that he's betrayed them, the other task force soldiers who are in the dark about the whole cycle program will genuinely think he's just lost his shit and started attacking everybody. Now I am well aware that it would be pretty hard for a task force member not to know about how cycles work, but again, I'll elaborate on that more in another video. For now, just think about it and take it with a grain of salt. Now unfortunately for 106, his former friends were able to blow up the lift that would take him right down to the nuke, so he's gonna have to take a detour. After 106 fights his way through some more task force operators, he comes across a generator that he gleefully blows up to disable the laser gate blocking his path to the bomb silo. Over the facility intercom, he hears the director tell her men to start the next cycle, but the quartermaster says that it will damage the facility and they may not have enough power to do it properly. She says to do it anyway, and 106 keeps fighting more task force members, eventually making his way through an underground research area to the cryogenics division. With the destruction of another generator, the quartermaster tells the director that the whole place is gonna come apart soon, and 106 drops down into the cloning facility, coming face to face with his successor, the imposing Subject 107. 107 is noticeably less human looking than the other cycles, having ashen gray skin and cybernetic components implanted all throughout his body, and looking around there's dozens more of him. If we logically assume that this dude is not the blank template that all other cycles are built on, that means that Task Force 27 were deliberately engineering a large number of 107s, but why? What are they planning to do with this guy? He definitely doesn't look like he was made to run a Fortune 500 company. Regardless, the director commands 107 to kill 106, and despite being born literally 5 seconds ago, 107 is actually a rather formidable opponent, wielding a sword and being able to cloak indefinitely rather than for short. God damn it, I'm trying to— As I was saying, 107 wields a sword and is able to cloak indefinitely rather than for short bursts like 106, and he's also able to do that little dodge thing that the Patriarch does. Eventually, 106 deals enough damage to 107 to cause him to retreat a little bit, and over the intercom, the task force members say that he's bugging out. It looks like activating 107 has really messed up the power supply in this place, and in the next room, the task force members have planted charges to try and blow up 106. After fighting 107 off again, the task force pricks arm the charges and 106 disarms them, and then 107 disarms him. Ever the indifferent, 106 doesn't give two fucks and just punches him in his shit, so 107 backs off again. So now 106 is running towards a nuclear bomb with one arm and zero fucks to give, and after he blows up another generator, the quartermaster says just f this shit and that he's leaving. Pansy, he's probably still sitting behind his bulletproof glass up there. At least the Horizon guys had the balls to come out and fight. Finally arriving at the bomb room, 106 sees one last drone patiently waiting for him in front of the silo. With all of 106's experiences published to anonymous sources around the world and his mind fully uploaded to the drones, his body is reconstructed in an unknown facility across from a mysterious but familiar sounding man accompanied by a scientist working for an unspecified organization. 106's clone groggily lifts his eyes and hears the man tell him that there's still work to be done, and for the original 106 back at the task force safe house, those words definitely ring true. The drone has teleported back out, and knowing that his legacy legacy will live on, 106 drops into the silo. But before he can do anything, 107 shows up again, taunting 106, telling him to bring it on. Kids these days. The director frantically tells the remaining soldiers to stop 106, and even though another laser gate protects the bomb, 106 eventually defeats the last of the task force operators and 107 along with them, allowing him to— wait a minute, oh shit! So that, everybody, was the turbulent and terrific tale of Trepang Squared. And while it may not have had as much love as the title of this video would lead you to believe, it did ultimately end on a high note, showing that even a mindless killing machine created only for one purpose is able to take control of his life and die not as a monster but as a human being, doing anything he can to make the world a better place. So if you— oh, hang on, I've just received a note here from one of the monkeys. Side missions? Data centers? Nuclear crash sites? Sentient AIs? Krakens? Aliens? Guys, hold on. Nobody go anywhere. It looks like there's still a whole bunch of other stuff